Welcome back to Highbury, home of the Gunners, of course. Arsenal and Liverpool on Super Sunday this afternoon. There was a few outside moments ago when Liverpool arrived. A few less now. They're making their way in, quietly enough. We've got the best seat in the house, I think, this afternoon. That's our view. From the clock end, the hospitality boxes. That's where we were the other night, just behind that clock end goal where Paul Merson screamed in the equaliser against Leeds United. Fabulous view from one of the great English stadiums. Arsenal and Liverpool on Super Sunday this afternoon. The weather, cloudy with possible drizzle, light easterly wind, 5 miles an hour, 8 degrees centigrade. Very unseasonal, isn't it? Nice and mild. Arsenal and Liverpool then this afternoon from Highbury. Arsenal and Liverpool this afternoon. The Gunners unbeaten in 6. This is how they've been preparing for this one. Here's Nick Collins.
For George Graham and his Arsenal team, it's been a topsy-turvy season so far. 7 league games without a win to the end of the year, but then 1993 has seen a run of 6 matches without defeat. With Ian Wright suspended, the Gunners' key man against Liverpool is Paul Merson, and he's got plenty to smile about after his breathtaking equaliser against Leeds in the FA Cup on Monday night.
Paul Merson. Pulls the rabbit out of the hat for Arsenal.
Merson then the man in form, but he won't be taking Liverpool lightly.
Yeah, they've got something to prove, you know, everybody's having a dig at them. You know, people were having a dig at us at the start of the season and we've come good, and, you know, it's only going to be a matter of time before Graham Souness gets them going again, and, you know, hopefully it won't be Sunday, but, you know, they're still a good team.
The players have all got a point to prove. I mean, they have been criticised openly by the manager and the press, and that's going to hurt players, and I think they're going to be trying to, you know, just show that they're still good players, as obviously they are.
There's no doubt that Liverpool have always been the yardstick for most teams, most managers and most players because of the standards they've set over the past couple of decades. This season, obviously, they've not reached those standards, and I think there's a few reasons why. But knowing Graham, who's a natural winner, he'll be doing his best to put that right.
Arsenal, of course, have had a great record against Liverpool in recent years, and back in August, it was at Anfield that they clinched their first league victory of the season.
And here's Limpar, lines it up, finds the net. Arsenal are in front. Ian Wright is away, there's no flag. Wright even stopped to have a look himself. He confronts James, and the goal is Arsenal's, thoroughly deserved. The game should be theirs with 11 minutes to go.
Arsenal v Liverpool matches tend to be highlights of the football calendar from a fan's point of view. Do the players look at it as a special fixture as well?
Yeah, I think so. You know, Liverpool are one of the big clubs, and we've always had good games against them. They play open and attractive football, and that encourages a good, attractive game.
Jimmy Carter came on as a substitute against Leeds, nearly setting up a last-minute winner for Kevin Campbell. He's in the squad again and could even start his first match in 5 months. Well, since that Leeds game, there's been little time for rest as Arsenal bid to continue their unbeaten start to 93.
In the middle of a really serious series of matches, Arsenal. Frank, tell us a little bit about the manager, George Graham, a friend of yours. What sort of character is he?
Well, George was a very easy-going guy when he was a player. You wouldn't have put him down as one of the players who would eventually turn to coaching and management. Very laid back. If you were too serious about tactics, that's if maybe Phil and I were talking, he would go, pack it in, let's have a laugh, or let's have a game of cards, or let's have a drink. But he got very serious eventually when he went to Queen's Park Rangers. He was youth team coach, and then he eventually got the job at Millwall. And he really has taken it, obviously, very serious since then.
I mean, that's a million miles removed from the character that we believe we know today to be the disciplinarian.
Well, I still find that strange when people talk about what George is like, because when I see George, he's very much the same as he was before. Okay, he's 10 years older, 15 years older, and he is naturally a little bit more serious, but still not too serious when you go out socially with him. But I suppose when he comes in and puts a mantle on as a manager, then he changes completely, and he really has, I think, thought it all out very carefully when he was going into management and decided how he was going to be a manager, what kind of manager he was going to be, and he's very sort of inflexible and very single-minded, but it's paid dividends on the whole, it's paid dividends for them.
Hasn't it just? So what of Liverpool then? We saw their last win over Blackburn Rovers on December the 13th. Here's Nick Collins again.
Business as usual at Liverpool's training ground? Well, possibly, but whatever's going on behind the scenes, on the pitch, where it matters, it's certainly not business as usual. Media talk of a Merseyside crisis may have been premature early in the season, but their latest run of 7 games without a win has provoked another rash of more justified headlines. At best, Graham Souness and his team are now aiming for respectability. At worst, it's a fight to avoid, whisper it, the drop. And this Sunday, they've got to play Arsenal.
I saw them play against Leeds the other night and they played very well. You know, they were 2-0 down, but they came back and played very well. And in the end, they probably should have won it. So, you know, it's not been a good season for us, but we're going there quite optimistic.
John Barnes putting a brave face on it, but their last 2 games have sent shockwaves through Merseyside. A 2-0 defeat by Bolton and an exit in the 3rd round for the FA Cup holders. That was followed just 3 days later by a trip to South London, only for Wimbledon, predictably, to serve up another humiliation. Their 2-week enforced break may have been timely, but a resurgent Arsenal is hardly the friendliest welcome back.
They're a strong team. They don't give much away at the back. They're very strong and they're quick up front. I don't think United will be playing, but with Campbell they've got an adequate replacement, and Alan Smith is always a handful. So they're very direct, but you know, they're just a capable all-round team.
The Gunners, unbeaten in 6 and still with a chance in all 3 competitions, could well increase the misery at Anfield. But a win for Liverpool would relieve at least some of the pressure.
Wouldn't it just? Sorry, Charlie, by the way. Phil Thompson, what about Graham Souness? Another rugged Scot. Was he always cut out for management?
No, I didn't believe he was when we were a player. It's similar, as Frank was saying about George, actually. He liked to laugh, never sort of took it too serious. I was sort of always very serious about the game, and if I was trying to sort of G up people or something before the game, shut up, yeah, you leave it out and everything, you know, we've got to go and play 90 minutes yet. Never really bothered him. Businessman, yeah. I'd always have thought that he was going to be a businessman. Then again, thinking about it, I think he's married the 2 together now. That was the way, contrary to what Terry McDermott put in one of the Sunday papers just recently, that Terry left me in my bedroom while he went off to speak to Kenny and Graham. It was always Kenny and Graham were in their room, and Terry Mack and myself would always spend a couple of hours. This was throughout Europe, throughout the world, and we always seemed to have a good relationship together. We chatted, we had a good laugh and everything. But it never ever gave me that idea that he'd want to go into the management side of it. I could never see him working his way up. The way he went in was straight into his manager's job. He was never ever going to be a coach in any way. Could not see him there standing there in the cold. Yeah, that's the only way he was going to do it.
Important match this afternoon for Graham Souness. Let's hear what they're saying about it outside, starting with the Arsenal fans.
I think it's been a close game. Liverpool aren't playing that well. I reckon Arsenal just about sneak it about 1-0. First half goal.
I think Arsenal win 3-0. The Liverpool defence not that so impressive for me. If Arsenal hit form like they did second half leads, 3-0.
Well, I reckon 2-0 to Arsenal today, don't you?
What do you think is going to happen today?
3-0. Smodger to get 2 and Merce to get the other one.
2-0, it's about time Campbell scored. And how do you think the season's going to finish for Arsenal?
For Arsenal, I think we could come very close. I think we could still win it, but I just think I think we're going to come very close. I don't know, it's tight, very tight, isn't it?
If we can put a run together from today, if we win today, then we'll win the league.
Well, we'll start our survival and revival and beat them 2-0.
I'd like to see us win, but the way Arsenal playing, can't really see it. But hopefully Barnsley can turn on some magic today.
I mean, like, when Souness first came to Liverpool, there was like a great big hope that we're going to win everything, but we've gone steadily downhill. But like I said, the main problem I think is the defence. You can't stick in 2 foreigners into a defensive team without the background in the English football division. So as soon as he gets that sorted out, I think we might be halfway there.
A lot of people blame the manager and the players. You've got to blame both, because good players don't become bad overnight because they've got the talent there. It's just they seem to be all individuals, not able to play well together.
It's just a sad season completely, all over. Everything's gone wrong. It can only get better, that's all we can say. It's got to get better.
Can't fool any of the people, can you? Team News, Nick Collins has got all the details for us. Nick, good afternoon to you.
Richard, hello. I think the most significant item of team news is the fact that Ian Rush has passed the late fitness test and will lead the Liverpool attack. Let's take a look at the two teams now, starting with Arsenal. And this is their lineup this afternoon. And look out at number 5, Andy Linnigan stays in the side because Steve Bold still isn't fit. At number 7, Jimmy Carter. He's starting his first game in 5 months. He hasn't actually played a full game for Arsenal and ended up on the winning side yet. Perhaps this afternoon could be the time. He's always been an Arsenal fan as well. And at number 11, Ray Parlour. That's because Anders Limpar and Mark Flatt still not fit. Parlour played a big role in Monday night's game with Leeds. On the bench, at 14, Neil Heaney, England under 21. On to the Liverpool lineup. And it's good news generally for them because they had a couple of players they had problems with. But Steve Nicol is back, he's fit again. And although Picnic is injured, Nicol and Wright there in defence. Bjornaby as well. And of course at number 9, Ian Rush, fit again after that groin injury. At 11, Paul Stewart, of course the former Tottenham man. I'm sure he'd like to do well here. And on the bench, of course it's Hooper as the goalkeeper, Walters and Hutchison. So they're the two teams lining up, and we'll bring in more, obviously, later on. Richard.
Nick, thanks very much. Let's get a reaction, first of all, then, to the news that Ian Rush plays, Phil. That really is a big boost for Liverpool, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. But with it being a little bit dodgy right up to the last minute, I hope Ian doesn't play and he's going to break down again. That is going to be the dangerous side of it. Plus side is that Ian is in the team, and the lads will be looking to him, and hopefully any half chances that are going begging, Rush is going to be one to nail it. But it's, you know, up front we've scored enough goals, but I think it's defensively that we've had the problems. And I think looking at that lineup, I think he'll leave Ian up on his own, and he'll play the 5 across the midfield to try and strengthen him front of the back 4. I think basically that's the way he has got to go.
Quick word about Arsenal, Frank. Jimmy Carter starts a game. You're one of Jimmy's advisors, aren't you? What can we expect from him?
Well, a lot better than what he's been given up to now, to be perfectly honest. Jimmy's been very disappointing since he's come here. And he really has got a great opportunity of showing people that he can be a lot better than what he's been playing. So it's perfect. It's on television. It's against Liverpool. He played well when he came on as sub against Leeds United and for about 15 minutes. Hopefully he's got the bit between his teeth and he can show them that he's a decent player.
We'll be back here at Highbury in a moment or so. Young man there checking all the details out. Yes, you're on, young man. Over there. That's nice, isn't it? Ian Wright doesn't play this afternoon. No doubt about who he supports, though, is there? Or that young man. Back here at Highbury in a moment or so. Big match this afternoon. Arsenal and Liverpool. There's Jan.
Sorry, mate.
In association with Ford, visit the Merseyside Blues when the club show puts Everton under the microscope. Wednesday at 6:30 on Sky Sports.
How do you keep getting rid of stains like this, chocolate, without fading colours to this? A real problem with some traditional powders, but not with new Ariel Colour. It's got a unique Colour Plus system. The bleaching agents have been taken out, and they've put in colour-safe stain digesters. To prove it, I was asked to try it. After just one wash, Ariel Colour got the chocolate out. Unlike some other powders, the more it's cleaned, the more it fades. But with Ariel Colour, it's clean and still green, even after 20 washes. So to get your whole wash clean, don't change your colours, change your washing powder. We did, didn't we? Yeah! new aerial colour digests stains without bleaching out colours.
Just look at it.
Yeah. Thank heavens for the tumble dryer.
Yeah, but mine's not the same as drying outdoors.
You ever tried Bounce?
Sylvia, something funny's happening inside your dryer.
That'll be the Bounce.
The Bounce? Hey, it's not all stuck together. And it smells great. Don't tell me. That'll be the Bounce.
Bounce, like drying outdoors, indoors.
Crossing! Oh! Referee!
Oh, it's offside.
Sweetheart, we're watching the match.
All my cartoons from.
What now?
Now we, hit the hut.
Now you can pick up or have delivered where available any large pizza for four, garlic bread and a bottle of Pepsi for just $9.99 from Pizza Hut.
Oh, hey, how did he miss a chance like that?
Yeah, that mouse is just too clever. He always gets away.
Aye, and
For a $9.99 meal for four,
hit the hut.
Perrins, the Worcester Sorcerer, and now tomato ketchup with a touch of Worcester sorcery.
By special delivery. To all sports and movie subscribers, the great new Plus magazine from Sky. Your guide to all the sport and blockbuster movies coming your way in spring. Take advantage of our special £7.99 offer for the new Variety Movie Guide. Plus, your opportunity to get a 3-hour video cassette in the exclusive Radio Times promotion. And your chance to meet Arnold Schwarzenegger, the Terminator, live at the opening of London's Planet Hollywood. Keep your Plus magazine by your TV and get the best from Sky this spring.
Welcome back to Super Sunday. Arsenal and Liverpool this afternoon. Few in now, isn't there? Two of the biggest names in English football. And a crucial match as well, not least for Arsenal, who are chasing, of course, on 3 months, but on three trophies, but also for Liverpool, who have won, what, 1 in 10 games. When we came here Monday night, incidentally, a number of requests from people to have a look at how the North Bank is progressing. We didn't have time then. There's the mural in front of a good deal of building work that's going on down there. Earlier in the week, this was the scene. And they've made some dramatic progress as well since we were last here on Monday. Really taking shape now. And it's going to be, if it's not now, a very impressive stadium this when work at that end is finished. And this is how it looks now. Just that top right-hand corner there had been done when we were here the other night, but look at the progress since then. Due to open at the start of next season. They've done well, haven't they? The referee this afternoon, Keith Cooper, who we met at Aston Villa, what, a fortnight ago. Nice man. There's a very different personal side to the Premier League referee.
Right, Hannah, what I want you to do today is go from where you are at the moment, along the path, up the steps, turn left, and to the front gate that we've practiced before, all right? Okay. Don't forget to clear the way before you start. Right, and just nice wide arc, just cover both sides. And I'll just follow closely behind, all right?
Okay.
And don't forget to keep smiling. Okay? There you go then. All right, Kane out in front of you. There you go.
Hannah Fearon is 7 years old and totally blind. She's the youngest child in this part of South Wales to be taught how to use a white cane. Her teacher is Keith Cooper, mobility officer for Gwent County Council and Premier League referee. We saw him a fortnight ago at Villa Park. Now he's back for Arsenal v Liverpool. Keith gave up a job in industry to work with blind children. For him, it provides the perfect antidote to refereeing.
It is a total contrast in as much as you got 50, 60,000 people shouting and screaming at you because you can't please all the people all the time, as you know. And then, but the day after, you see, you can come back to the peace and tranquility of working with a one-to-one. People like Hannah, who will bring you back down to earth, and you think, oh, this is fantastic. And that's why I get tremendous, as I say, job satisfaction from the job itself.
And being a true Welshman, he can't resist singing while he works. Just before his first Premier League match, we even caught him humming a tune in the Villa Park tunnel.
Relax your left arm. Keep coming to my voice. Well done. Well done. Good stuff. That's good technique. Don't hunch your shoulders a little. Just relax, Hannah. That's it. Good. And smile. Well done.
What's Mr. Cooper like?
Funny.
Is he? Does he tell you jokes?
Yes.
Under Keith's guidance, Hannah is making great progress. Keith has also experienced what it's like to be without sight. On a training course in Birmingham, he was once blindfolded while walking through the city centre.
Tricky situation sometimes, because not everybody can take that type of thing, of course. There's the juggernauts and the traffic and whatever. But you have to be put in the position of the blind child to understand what the child is going through, or what the person is going through, you see.
How did you cope with that?
Well, it was interesting, to say the least. In fact, one day, we'd done a route, my tutor and myself, and I was coming back having virtually completed the route, and she said, I'm going back to the centre now. I was still under blindfold with the cane, walking back, and it was an avenue, and there was a slip road leading into each house, and what had happened was I'd went down one of these slip roads and was in the middle of the main road with all cars around me, and me standing there under blindfold with my cane, with my tutor who run back saying, take the blindfold off, for Christ's sake, we're in a hell of a mess. When I took the blindfold off, as I say, there were all cars around me. And then that hits you then as to what can happen and how careful you have to be when doing the job, you see.
Now, a referee who teaches the visually handicapped is surely asking for trouble from the fans, such as the blind leading the blind, perhaps.
They always used to say to me, you ought to be back in that school as a pupil, so I think that's a pretty fair comment, isn't it? Very good. Lovely little technique. Things are coming along well. For a 7-year-old, you're flying. You're the youngest I've worked with, do you know that?
Yeah.
The youngest ever. We started at 6, didn't we?
Yeah.
They said it couldn't be done, but we knew, didn't we? We knew differently.
Much as Keith Cooper likes refereeing, he enjoys his work even more. And who can blame him?
Terrific, eh? Smashing little girl as well. Makes you think, doesn't it? Star check, genuine one today as well. Glenn Murphy. Who else can we see there? Daley Thompson. There's a penalty competition going on the Highbury turf at the moment by way of pre-match entertainment, which is keeping us all, including Frank McClintock, very interested. Frank's not watching the football though.
That was Phil that was looking at the game. Not doing me.
Right, here we go for real. Star check, David James. What can you tell us about the Liverpool goalkeeper, Phil?
As I say, early on in the season, he seemed to be playing quite well. All the reports were in the early games that he was having an outstanding time. Then the defence in front of him started slipping up, and of course, I think his confidence went more than anything, and I think he suffered for it. He's come back just lately. It must be a close thing, I think, between Mike Cooper and him. And there's also Brucey there, but I don't know why. Brucey just seems as though he doesn't fit at the minute. David's got his place in the team, and he must have something going for him at the moment. He must have his confidence right and his mind right. The lad's a tall boy. You see him hopefully being one of the great keepers about in the next years.
One of the great strikers, Ian Rush. How good is he? How good has he been for Liverpool down the years?
He's incredible. There's games where sometimes he'd go and you mightn't get a kick, but you'd know what, for one thing, Rush, you'd be working across the front line, trying to close people down, working for the team. And the lad's next thing, like he'd get a little sniff in front of goal and he'd be in the back of the net. He improved over the years with his overall play, and he created as many goals as he was scoring at one time. I think he's suffered, maybe, I don't know if it's his age or not, but he's suffered with injuries in the last couple of years, and it doesn't help anybody. I don't care who you are, and Ian's had trouble shaking off all these injuries.
Steve McManaman, one for the future, although he left his mark on Anfield last season, didn't he?
The lad's done marvellous. Like, I've seen him come through from a 14-year-old at Liverpool. I say I had him in the reserves for a couple of years. The lad was magnificent. There was sometimes you just wanted him to be a little bit more lethal in the box, to have that really greed to want to score a bit more, because his play and everything deserved it. I'd like to see him score a few more goals, but he's a must to have him in the team at the moment. They've sadly missed him, just for his little bit you could say about, okay, we'd talk about George Best maybe in a different light, but this kid can keep hold of the ball for a few minutes on end.
That was that kid, in fact, McManaman. Frank, you're on. Ray Parlour. Tell us about Ray Parlour.
Well, he's a young lad that's been in and out of the team this year, and mostly because of injuries. He started off well. He's got terrific thirst for the game. He's got great enthusiasm, you know, and he's a hard tackler. Lacks a little bit of finesse and a little bit of guile at the moment, but he is only, what, 19 or something like that. Loves to get forward, as we've seen against Leeds United during the week, and stuck that ball away very well. I think he's got a good prospect.
Kevin Campbell here. Again, like McManaman, had a terrific season last year, but hasn't been as good this time around. Why not, in your opinion?
No, he's been slightly disappointing, hasn't he? Because we were all rating him alongside people like Shearer, weren't we? It was fairly close, Shearer and him, and all of a sudden Shearer's gone into a different atmosphere altogether, and Kevin's almost stood still. Georgie's changed his team a little bit this season. He's played 4-3-3, and sometimes Kevin Campbell has been playing either slightly wide left or wide right. I don't think he's particularly happy in that position. The other thing, he looks a little bit heavier as well, which I don't think does him any favours. But he's got tremendous pace, and he's as strong as a bull. And I think he's a player who's affected by confidence, actually. I think that he gets a few goals in the back of the net, and it seems to lift a big weight off his shoulders, and he has missed a few recently. And I think he's a little bit susceptible to that. I think he should have that little bit of arrogance that maybe Andy Gray had and Kenny Dalglish had in their own way. If he had that little bit more arrogance about him, I think he'll become a better player. Now,
Jimmy Carter, short spell at Anfield, which wasn't successful. You were involved in getting him there and here to Highbury. We were talking about him a little earlier. Full of potential still, would you say?
Well, he's really got to get his act together. To be brutally frank, he's got to get his act together, because he's been with two top clubs, and up until now he hasn't done it. When he was with us at Millwall, on his day, he was absolutely outstanding. He's a good crosser with both feet. He's exceptionally quick. But I feel as though he's been a little bit frightened at these big clubs, and I would like to see him having a little bit of mental toughness and going out there today and thinking, to hell, I don't care if it's Liverpool, it can be anybody. I'm going to show them that I'm a good player. And if he can get his mind right and overcome this handicap that I think he might have had, then he can become a very useful player for Arsenal.
Stuart Houston, George Graham's right-hand man out there, leading the group warm-up. Number of clubs going for that now. We're edging towards 4 o'clock, which is kick-off. Arsenal and Liverpool on Super Sunday this afternoon. Next, the story so far.
Oh, darling, I'm so afraid, so terribly, terribly afraid.
Try not to worry. We should be in France by morning.
Oh, darling, I love you so very, very much.
I know.
Freshly sealed Heinz spaghetti. You can't eat it seriously.
Delight Extra Low is not only extra low in fat, it's high in taste.
If it's delicious and light, it's delight.
Now remember, the editor said we got to get all the nitty-gritty on him this time.
Right, he's having breakfast.
Breakfast, well, what is it?
Whole wheat flakes with raisins and bananas.
Bananas.
No, hold it. It's coconut and apple.
Apple.
No, hazelnut and raisins.
Raisins?
Apples and bananas.
Get that. Let's have a look at that.
Kellogg's Fruit and Fibre, a delicious combination of tastes in every bite.
Hello?
Fancy a bowl of Kellogg's Fruit and Fibre, lads?
We've been wrong.
Kellogg's Fruit and Fibre, never the same bite twice.
This engine's started.
With a new 1.0
1.6 16-valve engine. Side impact bars. And a new body. It's the shape to be in. The new 16-valve Escorts. We go there.
We do that.
We go there.
We do that.
We go there.
We do that.
We don't go there.
We do that.
We go there.
We don't do that.
We go there.
We do that.
At Thomson, we spend 52 weeks a year, making your 2 weeks perfect.
You just don't see games like that anymore. Yeah, in my day, the cup really meant something.
If you want a classic cup tie, you've got it. Leeds, Arsenal, the replay. The Highbury clash left everyone spellbound, and now Ellen Road provides the perfect stage for the rematch. Great goal! There has to be a result. Don't miss Leeds, Arsenal 2, exclusively live Wednesday evening at 7 on Sky Sports, in association with Sega.
Welcome back to a Super Sunday at Highbury. Arsenal and Liverpool this afternoon. 4 o'clock we start. Sky Sports are in town. That's the clock end at Highbury. All a bit quiet at the moment, isn't it? It was. Let's pop outside and have words with Nick Collins, who's got the pitch report for us. Nick.
Richard, we saw how good this pitch was on Monday night for the FA Cup game, and there's not really a great deal to add. If you have a field down here, very firm, perfect conditions for football, and no wind either, so really we should get a great game. Let's hope so anyway. Just a quick look at the pitch dimensions here at Highbury. The Arsenal pitch measures 110 by 71. Now, that compares quite interestingly with the Liverpool pitch, because Anfield's 110 by 75, so Anfield a lot wider. So Liverpool possibly just might find it a little tight here at Highbury, but they played here many times. The way the condition of the pitch is, we should get a smashing game. Let's hope so, Richard.
Nick, thank you. Phil Thompson and Frank McClintock deep in conversation here about the pitch. I mean, was that the case down the years, Phil? You found this a little tighter?
Yeah, I was just saying to Frank, over the years you have your favourite grounds, and like even going to likes of Old Trafford, Leeds and all that. I had no problems with them when I was a player. But always when I came here, I always seemed to have a hard game, a hard time. This was one of the, well, you could say unlucky ones. We had our fair results along the way, but it was always, I don't know, maybe it was that a little bit tighter than other places.
Actually, this pitch has been narrowed, I think, in the last 7 or 8 years. I can't remember what the reasons were for it, but they relaid this pitch 2 years ago, and it's fantastic. I remember Bob McNabb going to sign for Liverpool. Bill Shankly tried to sign him, and he says, "Come out and see the finest pitch in the whole of the country." But I think this is now. I mean, Liverpool's been a great pitch, but this is fantastic.
Commentators this afternoon, as usual, Andy Gray and Martin Tyler. Good afternoon, Martin.
Hi, Richard. Andy, with all this talk of a Liverpool crisis, I just wonder whether it's realistic for us to expect a team to dominate like Liverpool have done for such a long time. The game is changing.
I think that's right, Mark. The game has changed. I would be very, very surprised if a team in the next 20 years comes out and dominates English football to such an extent in the way Liverpool have in the past 20. I think you say times are changing. There's a lot more money in the game, and what that means is not so much that teams like the Norwiches and the Queen's Park Rangers can go and buy £1 million players, but they can keep their best players. They can pay them the money they deserve, and that's what makes it exciting now, I think.
Yes, stories to that end that maybe Roy Keane will stay with Nottingham Forest in the morning papers today. Les Ferdy Ferdinand, who's signed a new contract with Queen's Park Rangers, the type of players that Liverpool might have got before?
The type of players that Liverpool would definitely have got before, but I think if the quality players are spread around, then that can only be good for the Premier League.
Well, let's see who dominates out on this superb pitch. Richard, back to you.
All starts at 4 o'clock. Arsenal and Liverpool. This is the story of Arsenal's season so far.
It wasn't the start George Graham would have wished for. A home defeat by Norwich coupled with this deflected winner for Blackburn's Alan Shearer left them with no points from 2 games. But the rot stopped at Anfield. New boy Ray Parlour fed Anders Limpar for the first. Ian Wright added the second. Two successive wins followed. Merson's winner here left the Gunners 5th after 5 games. But they soon drifted back into the bottom half of the table. No surprise that Wimbledon were amongst their tormentors, or that their predicament was highlighted by the press. Arsenal's first experience of Monday night football revitalised their season. Ian Wright knocked in their first Premier League goal at the Neural end. A lucky omen, perhaps, as it heralded 6 league wins in succession. By early November, George Graham's Gunners were top of the Premier League. The bookies' pre-season favourites had come good. But defending champions Leeds had other ideas. Former Arsenal striker Lee Chapman led a 3-0 rout at Elland Road. And Mark Hughes forced home this winner the following week at Highbury. Even worse followed at White Hart Lane. North London rivals Spurs grabbed the only goal, and an off-the-ball incident cost Ian Wright a 3-match ban from the FA. The Gunners had slipped to 8th as the season approached its halfway mark. Sheffield United proved tough opposition at Highbury, forcing a 1-1 draw despite Hillier's strike. In their last league outing, their first league win in 9 games, Paul Merson giving George Graham hope that the Gunners have a springtime surge in their sights.
So Arsenal's season so far, played 24, won 10, drawn 5, lost 9, scored 25, conceded 23. At home they played 12, won 6, drawn 3, lost 3. Again, not too many goals scored, just over 1 a game, 16 scored, 10 conceded. Leading scorers, Ian Wright, who's got 17, 6 for Campbell, 5 for Merson. Average gate just over 25,000. The crime count, 41 bookings so far. Frank, you were saying earlier that we hadn't yet seen the best of Arsenal. That is a frightening thought, isn't it?
It is really, because Ian Wright, as it showed there, has been scoring most of the goals for Arsenal. They've been creating quite a lot of chances, but Kevin Campbell has lacked a little bit of confidence in some games, missed some quite good chances. Alan Smith has really gone into a bad spell as regards scoring goals, leading the line quite well, but not actually looking like scoring himself. And that's why I was interested to see how Arsenal would do against Leeds when Ian Wright was out. But they came back well and scored 2 goals. They've got to find goals from different areas of the pitch, Richard, rather than just relying on Ian Wright. So that'll be possibly one of the problems today.
How would you describe Arsenal? As one of the direct sides?
Yeah, they don't knock the ball about in the way that, say, Norwich do, or Tottenham Hotspur, or Liverpool in the past especially. They're a bit more direct, but they've got quality players in amongst that. And especially people like Paul Merson, when he's on song, he can be really quite exciting, can he?
OK, well, this is the story of Liverpool's season so far.
Liverpool's season started badly. They lost 5 and drew 3 of the first 10 games, and September ended dismally. They were beaten 4-2 by Aston Villa, Dean Saunders scoring twice against his old club. During that month, Mark Wright was dropped, but the arrival of the Dane Torben Pieknick failed to transform the Liverpool defence. And then the following week at Anfield, they lost to Wimbledon. That after levelling the score from 2-0 down. But they let Robbie Earle through in the 76th minute for the clincher. In the first 6 weeks of the Premier League, Liverpool had won only twice, and from mid-table they slipped to 19th. October and November were slightly better. They beat Sheffield Wednesday, drew with Manchester United and turned over the league leaders Norwich 4-1 at Anfield. Their league position improved to 13th, but true to their inconsistent form, they then lost 2-0 away to Spurs before hammering Middlesbrough 4-1 at home. At the end of November at Queen's Park Rangers, John Barnes returned to the side earlier than expected.
Rosenthal shakes off Peacock. Rosenthal puts it away!
Rosenthal's goal 3 minutes from time won that game, and the return of Barnes looked like it might turn Liverpool's season around. Against Crystal Palace, the Reds put together their most convincing win this season. One bright note has been the emerging young talent, the likes of McManaman, Jones, Redknapp and Hutchison. After 3 straight wins, Liverpool reached their highest placing in the league this season, 9th. In December, Souness brought into the defence the Norwegian fullback Bjorneby. He made his debut against Coventry, but the result was an astonishing 5-1 drubbing. Liverpool come to Highbury off the back of 3 defeats. Earlier this month, they lost for a second time to title challengers Villa. John Barnes, now the captain, put them ahead, but Gary Parker equalised. And then Dean Saunders scored the winner for Villa. 4 days later, Liverpool were out of the FA Cup. That had salvaged their season last year. This time they went in the 3rd round to Bolton Wanderers. In their last game 2 weeks ago, they lost 2-0 to Wimbledon. There's still uncertainty about the goalkeeping slot. Hooper was dropped for David James, but there are no magic cures for Liverpool's ills. The headlines have been scathing, and Graham Souness has been showing the strain of the job that Kenny Dalglish walked away from.
So, played 23 times, won 8, drawn 5, lost 10. Scored plenty of goals, but conceded far too many. Scored 36, conceded 37. Away from home, just the 1 win so far. We saw it live at Queen's Park Rangers on the Monday Night Football. Scored 11 and conceded 23 on their travels. Leading scorers, 11 for Rush, 8 for Walters, 7 apiece for McManaman and Hutchison. The crime count, 32 bookings and 4 sendings off. Phil Thompson, Andy Gray and Martin Tyler, they're just speculating on, will there ever be another era like it? It's extraordinary to think that Liverpool are being quoted this season for the first time since 1959 for relegation.
I can't see that. We've got, there's 3 games in hand on most of the teams at the bottom. I can't really see that, but we need to get out of the present predicament fast. Because if you stay down there in the bottom too long, although I've not sort of felt that myself before, talking to everybody who gets down there the relegation zone, it's hard to get out. Things start going wrong. You can maybe dominate games, but lose goals, daft goals. I think we've got to get away from there quickly and try and just get a little bit of solidity right throughout the club. We need it desperately.
Nobody has a divine right to stay in, though, do they?
No, they don't. But again, as I like to say, it's nice to see Nottingham Forest moving away from the bottom. It's good for football. There's no way Liverpool deserve to be down there by any means. And hopefully, I can see us moving away quite soon.
5 hours, of course, this afternoon on Super Sunday. The last hour, your chance to talk to Phil Thompson, Frank McClintock and Andy Gray, who'll be joining us up here. 071 782 3888 is the telephone number.
I'm not taking Jan Mulvey's call, by the way. I'm not taking Jan Mulvey's call.
You're in serious trouble
Jan,
for that.
Sorry.
071 782 3888 if you'd like to give us a call. That's in the last hour, of course. Next, we've got the centrepiece this afternoon. Arsenal against Liverpool, live.
This man has AXA Equity and Law life assurance. If anything happens to him, his wife will be a rich woman. I wonder who that was. AXA Equity and Law. Need we say more?
Peter's secretary, Kate, found her new Amstrad word processor easy peasy to use because the full-size screen let her see the construction of each page, while Dick's PA liked it because each client could have a separate disk. Kate herself, who was also the accounts clerk, suddenly remembered it was lunchtime and that Dick was big and hunky and could ditch the old typewriter. With a range of printers, Amstrad word processors start at £399.99.
Toothpaste, razors.
Milk, coffee, Coke, tea bag.
Tea bags, 4 chips, 2 sandwiches, 2 pasties.
Shampoo, toothpaste, deodorant.
Newspaper. Dog food. Dog food. Crackers.
Cat food.
Cat food. 4 chips.
Cakes.
2 sandwiches. Steak.
Cherry slice.
Oh, cherry slices. 2 pasties. Newspapers.
Esso has more forecourt shops than anyone else, where you can fill up with whatever you need, whenever you need it.
And,
All you have to do is remember what you wanted.
Did you remember the crackers?
They're the supermodels. Naomi, Cindy, Claudia. And this week they talk privately to the Daily Express about their beauty secrets, the tricks of their trade, and the catwalk gossip in a spectacular 24-page Paris fashion pullout, Fashion DX. And it's Cantona, soccer's maverick glamour boy, talks about life at Manchester United and his passion for football. With Monday's 24-page Paris fashion pullout, no wonder you're reading the Daily Express.
Tonight on Sky, at 6 there's an hour of comedy from Sky One's Simpsons, including a never-seen-before episode. Action and laughter at 7 on the Movie Channel. It's 9.5 Ninjas. On Sky Sports at 7, the Australian Open Men's Final. Who will win the first Grand Slam tournament of '93? The girls are on the loose at 9 on the Movie Channel.
I can't go back.
Tonight's blockbuster movie is Thelma and Louise. That's tonight on Sky.
A whole new ball game. Ford Super Sunday. It's match time. Arsenal versus Liverpool. Exclusively live from Highbury. Only on Sky Sports. Ford Super Sunday.
Yes, here we go. This is what we came for. Arsenal against Liverpool from the FA Premier League. Arsenal chasing trophies on 3 fronts. Liverpool are out of everything, but there's a good deal of pride at stake for them this afternoon. A fair few number of the Liverpool fans have travelled. There's a big supporters club in London, of course. These fixtures in the capital always well attended. And they don't come much bigger than this one, do they? Arsenal against Liverpool. Is that down the league is the taunt, I think, is it? It is at the moment. Liverpool in the bottom 6 as they come into this match, which is not a position we're used to finding them in. The head-to-head league meetings these down the years, 137 of them. Arsenal have won 50, Liverpool 54, 33 have finished in draws. Arsenal odds on, Liverpool 3-1, 9-4 the draw. First to score, well, 4 at 7-1 there. Campbell, Merson, Smith and Rush. John Barnes of Liverpool, 8-1. I told you he came, Jeremy Beadle, and Kevin Costner is another big fan when he's in the country. Watch out, Beadle's about. Coming up on Sky Sports, 7 o'clock this Wednesday, the fourth round replay between Leeds United and Arsenal. To the finish, of course. And Super Sunday next week, note the kickoff time, 11:30 in the morning. Spurs against Southampton, 11:30 start. Match kicks off at 1 o'clock. Talk back 071 782 3888 if you'd like to talk to Frank Clintock or Phil Thompson or Andy Gray in the last hour of the show. 071 782 3888. Big smile from David James, otherwise it's fairly serious in the Liverpool ranks. Tony Adams making a bit of space. Liverpool skippered by John Barnes again. As Phil Thompson rightly points out, Steve Nicholls fit. He has been captain when he's fit. Here we go, let's settle back and take this one in. Arsenal and Liverpool live on Sky Sports. Match commentators Andy Gray and Martin Tyler.
A year ago this weekend, Arsenal embarked on a 17-match unbeaten run to finish last season with a real flourish. Given that the title could be taken by the lowest total since 3 points for a win was put into practice in 1981, another charge from now on, and the 10 teams currently above them could all be within reach. Liverpool's league position, on the other hand, will be looked at by football fans all over the world with a sense of disbelief. The Arsenal side today virtually selected itself, with John Jensen joining Ian Wright on the sidelines through suspension, and Steve Bold, Anders Limpar, Mark Flatts and Colin Pate still suffering with injuries. The vacant spot from the lineup which started against Leeds goes to Jimmy Carter. Carter spent 9 months with Liverpool. He has been in the shadows in his 16 months at Highbury, but he is in the starting lineup for the first time since August.
Yes, Martin, it's for me, the inclusion of Jimmy Carter will mean that I think George Graham will revert to a 4-4-2 formation. I think Paul Merson will play on the left side. He'll play two central midfield players and Campbell and Smith up front.
Well, Graham Souness is still trying to find the right order in a mix of old and new. Two of the former category are fit again, Ian Rush and Steve Nicol, along with one who should represent a bright future, Steve McManaman. David James is the current incumbent in goal. Mike Hooper on the bench. Bruce Grobbelaar in Africa on World Cup duty. Torben Picnic is unfit, but Norway's Stig Inge Bjørneby does play for the 7th successive game, but he's yet to be on a winning side.
Well, Graham Souness could do one or two things, but I think the formation he will start the game with will be that. Again, it will be 4-4-2. McManaman on the right. I actually think Mike Marsh will play on the left side, Paul Stewart just inside. But the interesting one will be, I think, John Barnes will be asked to partner Ian Rush up front. And I'm personally looking forward to this little tussle. Two 19-year-olds in the centre of midfield. And although they may not be in direct opposition, the influence of either Jamie Redknapp's passing or Ray Parlour's thrusting runs really could go a long way to deciding the game.
The referee is Keith Cooper from South Wales. A Welshman with a real twinkle in the eyes. Well, Paul Merson has been so prominent for Arsenal. The winner at Manchester City 2 weeks ago, and the glorious goal which kept his club in the FA Cup last Monday. Graham Souness tends to provoke deep opinions for and against, but in football the taking of Liverpool into a new era is recognised as a major task. It does need a forceful character at the helm, and Graham has never shirked a challenge. The goals that Liverpool have been scoring suggest that there's not too much wrong with the flair in their football. Their main target now is to settle their defence into a stable unit. David James, who's playing at Highbury for the first time and looking for his first shutout in the senior team since he joined Liverpool in the summer. The type of pitch that the players should enjoy. They will also enjoy the stillness in the air. And here's Jimmy Carter. Merson. Now Campbell. Rob Jones has gone across. Merson, who is always favouring the right foot. It's rather wasted from that position by Nigel Winterburn in the end. Or perhaps he would say that nobody had attacked the ball at the far post for Arsenal.
Well, just looking quickly at it, Martin, both teams are lined up as I thought. Both 4-4-2, and Mike Marsh is the player who's been asked to play on this wide side here.
Both Arsenal and Liverpool have to live with enormous expectations. Their traditions dictate that. Every performance is subject to extra analysis, and when they meet, it is always a special occasion, even though the league positions at present 11th and 17th. Kevin Campbell, who almost completed the recovery on Monday night here when he had a late chance to get the better of an old teammate, John Lukic. Arsenal, of course, scheduled to go to Ellen Road for their fourth round replay on Wednesday, which you can see live here on Sky Sports. Mike Marsh is poised to challenge David Seaman, who was certainly not distracted.
It's a bit like a David and Goliath, though, isn't it?
Here's Dixon. Parlour infield. But not in control. Stopped by Björneby. Handed back to Linnigan and Hillier. Alan Smith is onside. He's got Steve Nicol for company, but the ball beats them. Tend to forget that on that fateful occasion at Anfield, when Arsenal won the title with the last kick of the season in 1989, Michael Thomas's goal is always remembered. Alan Smith was the other scorer for Arsenal in that match. At a very vital time. Free kick against Parlour.
I think if you were George Graham, you really would be saying to your players to put them under as much pressure, the Liverpool players, as you possibly can. Don't allow them to settle into a passing game. Try and make them play it long, because certainly with Adams and Linnigan in the back four, you would fancy them to have the advantage height-wise over Barnes and Rush.
Jamie Redknapp takes the free kick. McManaman. Now Rob Jones. McManaman gets the break of the ball. And the cross lands on the mural rather than into an area where Liverpool could attack it.
I would like to have said to Steve McManaman, it took a little bobble there, but as we mentioned earlier, the pitch is so perfect, I can't give him any defence for that poor cross.
Liverpool 3 consecutive defeats, and 15 days they've had to ponder it. A trip to Ireland with an attempt there to get the players together and let them talk through their troubles. And we'll see just what extra purpose maybe an unusually long preparation for this game has brought for Liverpool. But here's Smith for Arsenal and Carter. Marsh, whose versatility has suited the Anfield cause. Carter, who'd love to put on a show today. Deep from Dixon. James has got considerable height already before he reached up even further.
Well, unless he makes an awful mistake, that really is not the kind of cross that's going to trouble a goalkeeper. Goalkeeper of David James's ability. He loves just coming and picking them out, he really does.
Well, Liverpool's problems have been well documented. It might come as a surprise, I tell you, that Arsenal have won only one of their last 9 in the Premier League. They have been putting jam on their bread in January with cup successes, and they are unbeaten this year, despite the injuries that have kept Gary Lewin busy. David Hillier, who's had a visit to the hairdressers, I think, over the last few days.
Took a little knock there just as the play had died and the referee had blown his whistle. Paul Stewart just nicked David Hillier as he was going for the ball.
Well, there are injured Arsenal players dotted around the ground. We've got one of them up here on the gantry with us, Anders Limpar, who's broadcasting to Scandinavia. And having spent time on the treatment table, I'm sure he's got an expert opinion on the difficulties for David Hillier and the qualities of Gary Lewin for solving them.
You see there is Paul Stewart's just gone in to play the ball away and just catches David Hillier on what would be a very bony part of his body there on the hip.
Paul Stewart might not get a sympathetic hearing on this ground as a former Tottenham man. Oh, and Rush came in. It almost dropped for Mark Wright. Redknapp saying that's mine. And Stewart giving Rob Jones more difficulty than he deserved. And he's lost out to Campbell. Here's Merson. Jones gets it back.
Good pressure play from Arsenal though, wasn't it? I mean, Rob Jones would have at times expected to have dwelt on that, but Paul Merson was having none of it. Put him under pressure immediately.
Arsenal, who won 2-0 at Anfield at the start of the season, a match in which Ray Parlour was particularly prominent. Calculation between Redknapp and Jones, but Parlour, who made his debut of course the season before also at Anfield, and usually expects something eventful when he confronts the team from the northwest. Short free kick to Merson, cut out by Redknapp. Hillier to Winterburn. Hillier again. Merson, even when he's on the left, tends to cross with the outside of his right foot rather than in the more orthodox manner. And of course, Leeds ruining the fact that they allowed him to come in on his right side at the very end of the ground that he's attacking now on Monday night.
You can bet your life that Graham Souness and his team have certainly stressed that point to him. But with him playing on that left side, if you're going to show him anywhere, as he admits, he hasn't got a left foot, then they'll be sending him on the outside as much as possible.
Barnes, who in the past has expressed a liking for playing through the centre. Well, Paul Stewart is putting himself about.
So the ref might have actually caught a glimpse of his little challenge on David Hillier a little earlier. And that being his second one in quick succession, the referee just saying, any more of that, and I'm sure his name will go in the book. The one thing we know about Paul Stewart, he's certainly competitive, isn't he?
It was Jimmy Carter who copped it that time. Carter's okay. Was signed by Kenny Dalglish for Liverpool just before the Dalglish departure. Linnigan out by Wright. Rush working back.
They might have a problem at set pieces today, Liverpool, Mark. I think they're undermanned, or they're short on height at the back there. And it was noticeable that Andy Linnigan was coming there over the top of Bjornaby and Mike Marsh. who he's got a distinct height advantage over. I think if Arsenal spread their big boys about at set pieces and corners, Liverpool are going to have difficulty covering every one of them.
Barnes. Taken out here by Marsh. Stewart. Harris quickly by Parler, who's got added aggression in his game this season.
Well, they may have got the free kick there, but I think it's a little warning, isn't it, to the Liverpool players that they've got to be sharp and quick on the ball, certainly early on in this game.
You do feel that the first goal could be particularly important in this match. The word from Wimbledon the last time Liverpool played a couple of weekends ago was that Liverpool knocked the ball around well early on, but once they went a goal behind, they were by no means the same side, and the powers of recovery that day seemed very limited. So Arsenal trying, I'm sure, armed with that knowledge, to draw first blood here. And then we will see whether Graham Souness is a couple of weeks away from the pressures of a match, has been able to just lift the spirits in the camp.
And sometimes it's a good thing if you're struggling, man, to get away like that in a break. But what I think they are showing is they're showing 10, 12 days away from competitive football. The first 2 or 3 minutes, the passing's not quite accurate enough. They've been a little bit lazy on the ball, and Arsenal certainly put them under pressure.
Winterburn. Taking Adams out, really. Fairly enough, too. And still Barnes, almost sliding it through to Rush. And suddenly there was a problem for Arsenal where, when the ball was initially played up, you'd have backed Adams to head it away. And there's another bit of push and shove between Adams and Barnes. McManaman. Barnes, for whom Highbury has been a good ground in the past. Arsenal are worried about David Hillier, who was injured early. And David O'Leary looks to me as though he's getting ready there to come on. Hillier is still limping. Adams' header is a weak one, quite out of character. Redknapp. Björneby must be wondering quite what he's let himself in for coming to play in England, the way the results have gone in his early games. And now Stewart has gone too far. He's going to be booked, and if he doesn't keep his thoughts for himself here, it might be more serious. Keith Cooper pointing off and saying, any more of that? Persistent infringement throughout the opening 13 minutes. And it's the signal as we look at this again.
It's what they call, I think, a two-footed tackle, isn't it, Martin? And I think it's just a simple fact that it's his third one after being told about it only a couple of minutes ago.
A booking to record and a substitution. David O'Leary.
It's a bit of a blow, that, to Arsenal.
For David Hillier. O'Leary had a couple of games recently in that middle of midfield role. Played there in the Cup at Yeovil. Campbell. Linegan. It's a long one. And Mark Wright saw it coming. Rob Jones trying to keep the ball in play. Only gave it to Merson. And Liverpool really could have settled for less risk perhaps at the throw. Winterburn. Flag is up for offside, and that gives us a chance to bring in Nick Collins for news on David Hillier.
Well, Martin, you were right when you were saying you thought it might be that challenge earlier on that was the problem for David Hillier. Indeed it is. The Arsenal bench, in fact, none too happy with that challenge. And, in fact, David Hillier has gone off with stud marks on his thigh. So he's in a bit of pain at the moment. But that's the reason why he's gone off and David O'Leary is on.
Thanks, Nick. Back to Nicol. And France is in front of Linnigan. And that gave the defender a problem he could only solve with a push. Liverpool take the free kick. Short to Stewart. Certainly Liverpool determined to stand their ground in midfield, knowing that Arsenal are a powerful team with a positive style and not too many frills about their own midfield game.
Although I think that's a blow that young David Hillier's had to go off, and David O'Leary come on, Martin. I think it would have been a bigger blow had it been the other central midfield player, Ray Parlour. Because what David will do is just slot into the position David Hillier left.
That was Lee Dixon completely miskicking there, and trying to see a little bit of humour in the situation that could have been very serious.
And very embarrassing, goodness. It was spinning viciously, but Lee Dixon should have been able to have dealt with it. And they've got another problem. Tony Adams now down.
Well, given the high profile of this particular Premier League game and what Arsenal face in the FA Cup on Wednesday, the regular appearances on the pitch of Gary Lewin and the long list of players who are injured already, worrying for George Graham. Neil Heaney, who's an England under-21 international, is the remaining outfield substitute. He's made stern stuff, Tony Adams, and on he goes. But the game starts with a corner. And Lee Dixon in particular will be hoping that Liverpool don't make too much of this.
That was a poor ball in, wasn't it? They actually worked some space there in the corner and got a 2-against-1 situation. Arsenal was slow to push men out towards the ball, but Bjornaby's delivery there wasn't really good enough at all. But it has been a bit bitty. You know, the first 17 minutes of the game hasn't really settled to any pattern at all.
Stig Inge Bjornaby, who's got a sporting background. His father took part in the Winter Olympics on 2 occasions in ski jumping. And indeed, the younger Bjornaby started off in that sport. Merson. A couple of ricochets there, but it is a corner. And the height that Arsenal have increased by the arrival of O'Leary as well. But the biggest man on the pitch.
That's poor, that's poor, Martin. You've got such a height advantage, even more so, as you say, with the introduction of David O'Leary. And I would just be concentrating in set pieces and missing Mark Wright out. He's the best header of the ball. You can only mark one person. If you miss him out, you must have a chance.
Campbell made space for a shot. Oh, and Smith coming in as James found it initially awkward to grasp at the first attempt.
Well, he beats Mark Wright very easily here, doesn't he? Gets 2 square on for me. Cuts in, keeper doesn't quite hold it there, but recovers well and just takes a knock, I think, on the way through. But he beats him too easily for me there, Mark Wright.
Well, it was a little Merson-like, wasn't it, checking onto the right foot there and making space. Graham Souness speaking this week, saying that he has greater hopes now for Mark Wright, that he might have settled in after some inconsistent spells.
Well, he's an England international, Martin, and he doesn't become a bad player overnight. He has taken some criticism this year about his performances. But if you've got quality, the only thing it might be lacking then is a little bit of self-confidence.
He might not be the only one for Liverpool in that respect. The goal would mean so much for them. They've got a corner. McManaman's attempt was deflected before it got too far. Steve McManaman, of course, picked up a bad knee injury here at Highbury against Portsmouth in the FA Cup semi-final last April. Linnigan, solidly hoisted forward by Nicol. Good jump by McManaman, well read by Barnes, who's got the strength to go with the skill, of course, playing with his back to goal. And although that hurt Barnes, he was a little too astute for Linnigan. And it's another Liverpool free kick. 20 minutes gone. Just a little more of an acute angle than when Barnes did so well against Portsmouth. Spoilt their semi-final here, setting up the late equaliser last April for Ronnie Whelan. In from Barnes. And Stewart was gesturing as though it did come off him at the end.
I think you're right. I think it was Paul Stewart. What they do, they attack the ball very well here. Pulls behind Andy Linnigan, and actually both of them making contact with the ball. He certainly showed his old striker's instinct there, Paul Stewart, didn't he, getting in there?
Smith. Back for James to kick. From McManaman. I'm not sure the goalkeeper would have thanked him for that. But off goes Barnes, and if they can get the ball to him in these areas, well, it could turn out to be a good day for Liverpool. They certainly need one. Oh, and Rush! Seaman had stayed at home, and if Rush could have reached it from that range, you'd have backed him to have got the better of the goalkeeper.
Yeah, I don't think the goalkeeper had any option but to stay at home. This cross is never in his territory for me. But how agonisingly close it is for Rush. Spots the flight of it early, but knows he's not going to reach it. How frustrating for him.
Bounced on by Smith. Genevieve, who played for Norway at Wembley. Parlour, there's no offside. Liverpool caught square by Campbell. And the ball caught by the goalkeeper. Liverpool counter-attacking quickly through McManaman. Gets the better of Winterburn. Barnes checking out. Deflected, and it's a corner and not a goal, and Liverpool thought that Barnes might have made a breakthrough then.
Well, he does ever so well, McManaman here. But Winterburn gets no cover there. Barnes just pulls off the defenders, and you know what he's trying to do. He's looking to bend this one away, but it's deflected just wide. Good, positive break from Liverpool there, after being under pressure themselves.
We're halfway through the first half. Jamie Redknapp with the corner. Barnes climbing. When you think that Barnes didn't score a solitary league goal in 1992, largely because he didn't play very much, you can see what Liverpool were deprived of, but he's got going again in the Premier League, the goal against Aston Villa, although in the midst of another defeat. Parlour. Number of Norwegians playing in England increasing almost by the week. Max Strandley, a scorer for Leeds on Saturday. Ingebrigtsen played for Manchester City. Here's Barnes for Liverpool, and Rush is offside.
But how often have we seen Ian Rush make that little diagonal run in behind centre-backs for a straight pass? Watch the way he pulls away, and then he goes diagonally across the defence. It's very, very close, isn't it? Who'd be a linesman? But he times that run so very, very well, Ian Rush.
David Orr, who incidentally ran the same line on Monday night in the Cup tie. Marsh. Came off Mike Marsh. Smith. Nicol being told to turn away and probably didn't need the advice. He's been around long enough to realise that was the sensible course. Well, it's still a throw-in. FIFA will want it to be a kick-in in future. A major talking point in the game. If it happens, there are plenty of us that hope that it doesn't. Jones. That's a stray one from Winterburn. Tried to make up for the error, but the ball's rolled on behind him. And here goes McManaman, doing what he does with such a natural flair. Oh, Barnes! And it was looking good for Liverpool again for a moment or two. Nicol came off the head. James can pick it up.
It looked ominous there for Arsenal. You're right there, because as it dropped to John Barnes, he was trying to control it on that favourite left foot of his, and had he done so, you could just picture him just bending one in the corner.
Dixon eyeing Rush and waiting for him, committing him, and then Dixon ended up not just on the track, but in what used to be a standing area of the ground where the photographers now operate. Merson almost angling it through for Campbell. Campbell doing his best to make sure that George Graham has a selection problem, with Ian Wright available again on Wednesday. Winterburn. Here's Parler, pressed by Stewart, who's not pulling out despite the fact he's been booked. Position in which Merson called Winterburn to leave it. Adams is no one that far forward. Rush should come back for something played at him, not over him. McManaman. Redknapp goes outside him, and trying to get ahead of him now. He's got into McManaman's space, which he now wants to vacate. Well, Liverpool kept the ball, but the nature of the tackle by Winterburn was violent enough for Keith Cooper to decide that it wasn't a case of advantage there. He's got to enforce the law.
But he's a bit hot-headed, Nigel Winterburn, isn't he? That's the only thing I can say about this tackle is it's awful. Nothing to be proud about the challenge at all here. Launched himself out from a long way, and I think the referee absolutely spot on in his decision here. Ball's away, he goes in high, he goes in late. You can't expect anything else other than a booking there.
And for some of us, Winterburn was a bit fortunate not to be booked here on Monday night, late in the game, for another moment of wildness in between. In his defence, he's the most consistent left back. Carter trying to attack the Liverpool left-back, stinging Björneby. Carter's cross, Campbell comes back to Carter again. That hits Stewart rather than deliberate handball. Jimmy Carter, incidentally, is an Arsenal fan from his boyhood days, brought up not too far away from here in Islington. But played at Crystal Palace, Queen's Park Rangers, Millwall, before going north to Liverpool and finally coming to his favourite club.
I felt a little bit sorry for Jimmy Carter in this first half an hour, Mark. They've not been able really to get him in the game as much as I think they would have liked. I certainly think that is Arsenal's best option, apart from knocking the ball long, Alan Smith for flick-ons. And certainly the wide men of Carter and Merson look like to me that they're like the ones to supply any keys that are needed to unlock Liverpool's defence.
It's been so far so good for Liverpool, but that could change with almost half an hour gone here if Arsenal can make something from this long throw. O'Leary lined it up. Parler concentrating quite rightly on keeping his shot down, but it hit a forest of legs. Merson beat Jones well, but found Rush coming back. There's been some pleasing and promising moments from McManaman already for Liverpool. Stewart supplying the steal and upsetting the home crowd. Marsh, Barnes, a little too tight for Graham Souness' side then. But Mike Marsh, as long as he's in the team, is happy to take up any number of positions. Wide left on the midfield today. Smith, hoping to fashion something as the ball dropped quickly. Coming up on Sky Sports, Arsenal at Leeds in the FA Cup on Wednesday, live of course on Sunday. Our programme begins at 11:30 AM, Spurs against Southampton. Southampton very much in the news after what they did to Aston Villa. It's a good contest between Nicol and Campbell. Raw strength against terrific experience. Nicol's been a marvellous player for Liverpool down the years. Oh, Redknapp's made a mistake. And in the end, Smith, who took a while to master the bounce, very nearly outmanoeuvred the goalkeeper. He might well have done, in fact, had the shot been on target.
Not so much a mistake here, as he just can't quite reach it. He's always struggling. Whether Mark Wright's giving him a shout, I don't know. But I also think Alan Smith shouldn't be allowed that time to turn and so nearly curl a shot into the corner. It's really a fine effort. You see the bend on the ball, but just not enough for Big Smithy.
Alan Smith with only 2 goals this season is way down his usual return, but he does much more than score, of course, which is why he's still much admired by the clubs we've mentioned before, aware that his contract is up with Arsenal at the end of this season. Well, Paul Stewart, after the way he started the game, will be well aware that any error like that, mishit pass, will be seized upon by supporters who he's irritated. Nil-nil, and the two sides do look evenly matched. Arsenal, of course, came very strongly in the second half up at Anfield in August. But the 2 goal scorers in that game aren't playing today. Although Ray Parlour, who was the heartbeat of the team in that second half, is out there. The scorers were Anders Limpar and Ian Wright, let me remind you. We were wondering, Andy, whether Graham Souness would have been tempted to play Steve McManaman on the left. But you can see why he's used him on the right. He's been influential so far.
It certainly looked the best option, hasn't it? He's looked to be troubling Nigel Winterburn every time he's got the ball.
Off the head of Campbell to Carter. Going to be letting him go inside. Merson coming from beyond the far post. It's still in play. A swing of the right foot again. And it's produced a corner. He talks about his weak left foot, Paul Merson, but there are plenty who envy what he's got in his right. With that right foot, he will take the corner. Linigan has made a late run and Stewart got in front of him. It's another corner. It's Carter to contribute this time at the set piece. Adams, Linigan, Smith, O'Leary, all useful in the air. Campbell as well. And Liverpool defending at the moment with some difficulty. 10 minutes left in the first half. James has come, only patted it down, and he was helped by Rush. Liverpool had pulled everyone back. Carter beats Rush. Couldn't quite get beyond the second line of defence. Björneby. Barnes. Here's Rob Jones. Staying forward. Barnes. Rush. It's aiming for Jones, who was in fairly unfamiliar territory then. Parler. And Rush hoping that Barnes was able to set off behind Arsenal then. But at the other end, it was an awkward moment for David James, Andy.
Well, what I think he knows as well, Martin, he knows his team are depending an awful lot on him to do that today because of the lack of height there. And at all times, he wants to come out and try and help them. But there are times when he's out that far, 16, 17 yards, he's got to just switch and say, hey, wait a minute, I can't be going out there. But he chanced his arm and got away with it.
James playing for the 14th time in Liverpool's first team this season. Mike Hooper's played 14, Bruce Grobbelaar 9. The changing there, an indication of the fact that Graham Souness hasn't been able to sort out really who's the best, or the chosen one hasn't been consistent enough to hold the place for long periods. But the Liverpool manager preaching the need for a settled defensive unit. He feels if he can get that, the rest will fall into place. Barnes. Taking on perhaps a bit too much. Stewart wanting the ball. Björneby. David Burrows, remember, is one of the Liverpool casualties still. Michael Thomas, of course, who would have loved to have been out there playing today. He's here, but on crutches.
There's a lot of quality players that both sides could have put out today that are not in show.
But they do have big squads, and injuries are part of the game. Plenty of attractive talents we've seen already in the sides that have been selected today.
He looks in a bit of agony here. Doesn't he, little Mike Marsh, as he goes? Doesn't look like an awful lot happens there, but he certainly was lying there clutching the back of his right ankle round about his Achilles area.
It looked a genuine attempt to play the ball by Jimmy Carter.
Look, nothing in the tackle, Martin, really. Whether it was after the initial challenge, he just jammed it or overstretched the Achilles area.
Down the back of the right leg. One hopes not as far down as the Achilles tendon, which has been the Achilles heel for Liverpool. So many players have missed matches with that particular complaint.
Well, that's certainly the area he was looking at, and certainly the area he was holding.
Happened so often since he took over as manager. Phil Borsma allowing Mike Marsh to go on for the time being. Half-time just over 5 minutes away. maybe they will reassess it then, but it's not looking over-promising at the moment for Marsh. Björneby. Lenigan stopping Barnes, getting round him. He's a big man, Andy Lenigan. O'Leary. On for David Hillier if you've just joined us. Right. It's when the ball just starts to bounce off the ground that you can feel the worry in the mind of goalkeepers. A straightforward kick is much easier than trying some sort of volley. Carter. This might be a bit deep, Andy, but what do you make of the FIFA proposals for throw-ins to become kick-ins? And don't forget, you can't be offside from a throw-in, so I presume you couldn't be from a long kick from that sort of position.
Well, I'm sure they would have to tamper again with the offside rules, Martin, and make people offside from kick-ins if that were the case. I certainly hope it's not something that we get in the game. I can just picture teams getting kick-ins halfway in their own half, throwing everybody forward to the edge of the opponent's box and just whacking it there, and I certainly don't think that would benefit football.
Ooh, well, Barnes on the far side, McManaman in the middle coming back.
I think it was McManaman, you're right there, who's the one who was caught offside. I thought Barnes in. When I first saw it there, I thought John Barnes is okay. See, Barnes is... Oh, it's tight. But certainly McManaman was well offside. Barnesy very tight.
Dixon. Carter. Hasn't been able to produce a regular supply, largely because he hasn't been supplied so much himself.
He's looked quite sprightly to me, and he's looked as if he's wanted the ball, Jimmy Carter. And I certainly would be anxious to tell the Arsenal players to get the ball to these wide men as often as possible.
Cleared with a grimace of pain by Mike Marsh. They might not wait until half-time. And Don Hutchison looks like a man in a hurry to get on. Sometimes I wonder, the ball's out, why players who would wear tie-ups in a game don't wear them when they're preparing for a game, sitting there as substitute. Stewart again catching the eye of the referee and the crowd. It's a throw from Dixon. Here's Winterburn going again. Merson can't find him, not the first time, but he's done now. Winterburn trying something extravagant to get in across. McManaman, ball bounced high enough for Lenigan to get his head to it.
Well, they're trying to get Mike Marsh off, but I think he looks a lot more comfortable now, and I don't think he particularly wants to come off. Don Hutchison putting the jacket back on, and I think they probably now will wait till half-time. That certainly makes sense if Mike Marsh feels confident enough to get it through the next couple of minutes.
Redknapp. Rush. Here's McManaman. Liverpool looking for a goal just before half-time. David Seaman, who hasn't had a great deal directed at his goal, despite the work by McManaman on the right, the threat of Barnes and Rush through the centre, and the fact that Liverpool's stronger cards this season have been in attack. Mark Wright trying to prevent the corner. He's done that.
That was an important interception from Mark Wright there. He had the option to leave the ball for his goalkeeper, but had he done so, Alan Smith was ready to pounce.
Maybe the last chance in the first half for Arsenal. Adams, who'd gone up for the throw. Smith. Adams again. And slipped at the crucial moment.
Not leading by example, isn't he there? Trying to spark his team into life. It hasn't been the best first half that I've witnessed between these two sides.
Campbell. Parler pressing Stewart, forcing him back. And James imparting far too much backspin on that. Getting underneath the ball. But what will please Liverpool supporters, I'm sure, is the attitude of the team. Whatever the circumstances, it's always a big game on the Liverpool fixture list. Arsenal away. Of course, they were beaten here 4-0 at the end of last season. On Easter Monday, if memory serves me right. 0-0 here in the dying embers of the first half. First half in which the flames of the fire haven't burnt perhaps as brightly as sometimes when the sides clash.
That was a needless free kick Rob Jones conceded there, right in the stroke of half-time. His team under more pressure.
In from Merson, up goes Adams! And really, it was one where, as the ball dropped, Adams jumping with Barnes, you might have backed Arsenal to take the lead then.
You might have backed the big goalkeeper to come for it as well, the way he has done the first half, but Adams gets up there, gets a clear header, but just can't keep it on target. See how easily he wins that. And that's the advantage Arsenal have at set pieces.
Marsh. And that's about as much as Mike Marsh could muster there. He couldn't run on with the ball. And again, the pain showing quite blatantly. It's a case of one stride and take a chance with the shot. So Arsenal having lost one midfield man injured, David Hillier. May well be that Mike Marsh might not be out with us for the second half. Don Hutchison and Mark Walters, along with Mike Cooper, on the Liverpool bench. Redknapp. McManaman. Half-time, and Graham Souness will take some satisfaction in keeping out the opposition for 45 minutes. Mike Marsh limping off, David James going off his goal intact. Arsenal have tried to force the pace, but 0-0 thus far. We'll have the words of wisdom from Phil Thompson and Frank McClintock. That's after the break.
Arsenal 0, Liverpool 0 at half-time. The match facts: 7 from Arsenal, 5 from Liverpool. Only 2 of the Gunners on target. Liverpool haven't hit the target yet. 7 corners in total, Arsenal edging it. 22 free kicks, 6 offside decisions, 1 booking apiece. The talkback telephone number for the last hour of the programme. Andy and Martin have already opened up the kick-in debate. I think Andy Roxburgh, the Scottish manager, is a great advocate of turning the throw-ins into kick-ins. What do you think? 071 782 3888 is the telephone number, and the lines are open now. 071 782 3888. 2 of the best defenders the game has known, Frank McClintock and Phil Thompson, are our guests this afternoon. Phil's looking over his shoulder. No one's popped in, I meant you. Not the best of games so far, Frank. Very stop-start, wasn't it?
A bit bitty, isn't it? You know, there's quite a lot of stoppages and injuries and things like that, and Marsh looks as though he's struggling as well. The play is condensed right down the channel, the main channel of the pitch, and there's very little width to the game, which stops it really flowing. So it has been stop-start.
Not too many chances either. Kevin Campbell early on, perhaps, with, well, 1 or 2 of Arsenal's better moments. Phil, talk us through this one.
He does the right thing. He runs at people. Basically, you've got to try and get in or around the box. Defenders are frightened, and he does well there. He's come across him. James, he should have maybe got the first one, but the main thing was he stops it going in. It's maybe, I don't know, maybe Wrighty should have shown him to go down the outside.
Here's another one. Again, he gets into a good position here, doesn't he?
I think he was pretty fortunate. I think Ray Parlour tried to take it himself. He does well, but give James his due there. He's narrowed his angle. Right, he stood up to him, a little bit closer to him this time, and he's done well on that. He's probably narrowed the angle, whereas James, he can say to himself, well, I've only got this part to cover. He probably couldn't see much more of the goal.
Steve McManaman's been lively. He created, what, a half chance for John Barnes, Frank, didn't he?
Yes, he did. Actually, in the first 15-20 minutes, he was giving Nigel Winterburn a little bit of a problem. Nigel dived in a couple of times early on, and he's a good defender. And he gets past him here well. John Barnes checks out and he sees him. But he just can't get his shot in. Well, he does get his shot in, but just good blocking there by a few defenders.
Do you not think he should have knocked it round the front, though, Frank? It's putting defenders and everybody on pressure. He's given Barnsley a ball which is facing the other way. If he'd have just whipped it across the front, anything can happen.
Right across the face of the goal,
he's knocked it there, and it's like the game's gone dead. Yeah. You know, if I was a defender, I'd be quite happy there.
He's
give it there, and, okay, you know what Barnsley's got, anything can happen. But the position that Macca was in, if he'd have whipped it round the face of everybody, he's had that position a couple of times, actually.
Yeah.
I'd rather have seen him do that, because he had another chance just after. He should have done exactly the same, whipped it round the front.
What about the one that Smith whipped around a post? That wasn't too far away, Frank, was it?
That was a terrific effort. I mean, it is difficult with so many men around Smith, but he has got this ability, even if he's having a fairly quiet game, he's a very good shielder of the ball. And he brings that down well, keeps a hold of it, 2 or 3 players on him, hits it in the turn, and it's just outside the post. And I've seen him scoring quite a lot of goals like that. Just turns in the space of a half a yard and gets his shot in.
Here's Tony Adams. We've talked about their aerial superiority, but not too much evidence of it until now, Phil.
No, I thought maybe James might have been able to come for that one. It was a coming from a long time. It was a high lobby one, wasn't it? It was right from the touchline. It's probably travelled 50 yards, and you'd thought your goalkeeper might have come out. He's 6'4" and ate that one up. As it happens, it was a good header.
I know he says he gets a free header, but Barnsley's done well. Because if that was a free header, that'd have been in the back of the net. But Barnsley does well, because Barnsley's backing in, don't forget. But he's done enough to sort of put him off so that he can't pick a spot.
Monday night, Arsenal exploded into action in the second half. Frank, can we expect the same again?
I think they've got to do better than what they've done in the first half, because they're the home team, Richard, and in the first half, Jimmy Carter, I think, could be the key to it, and Paul Merson to a certain extent. Georges obviously says to him, when Liverpool's got the ball, tuck in and make it a tight midfield. But what I don't think Jimmy's doing is when Arsenal get the ball, he's taking too long to get his heels back out in that touchline. By the time he gets there, he's facing the wrong way, and the only thing he can do is knock it back to his fullback. He's really got to get out there quickly, demand the ball, go at the fullback, because he looks as though he's got the beating of him. He's had 2 or 3 crosses, a couple of shots himself, but really he could be doing so much damage to Liverpool's defence if he does that earlier. Get some width in the team.
OK, goalless at half-time on Super Sunday from Highbury. Arsenal 0, Liverpool 0. Second half live comes next here on Sky Sports. The talkback number 071 782 3888. 071 782 3888. The lines are open now. Match commentators Andy Gray and Martin Tyler.
Mike Marsh is back out again for Liverpool. Incidentally, one of 8 Englishmen in the Liverpool side today, which is quite unusual. It is the Welshman wearing number 9 who gets the second half underway. Liverpool finding out that life in the bottom half of the table means sometimes chiselling out results. And although there have been flashes of flair from Barnes and McManaman, of course, the main essence of their first half performance has to be solid and substantial in their defending. Merson. Just a little nudge by Rob Jones.
It's unnecessary as well, Martin, it really was. You put pressure on your defenders in dangerous areas. Paul Merson wasn't going anywhere, he was having difficulty controlling the ball. No real need for Rob Jones to push him there.
Such a fairy tale first season with Liverpool, but of course he is still learning the game. Free kick to Arsenal. O'Leary going deep, Merson going for goal, and it's rather typified the way the game has gone so far.
interesting. I did a little piece before the game about the North Bank being empty now, and I think it's games like this that I was talking about, they'll miss them, Martin. No one there. I can remember being at Highbury many times, and they've struggled in the first half of games, turned round, they've had that 12,000 in that North Bank roaring them on. It isn't there today. It's games like this they'll miss it.
Barnes linking up beautifully with Jones. Two to his right. McManaman just forced a little bit wide. They're filling the centre now at Liverpool. And it was Ian Rush who went in for the header. Mike Marsh who stretched. It's a damaged ankle, we've learnt that he's had strapped up. But he didn't move very convincingly there when he was the last man on the cross. And I think the reaction from the bench is now that they've surely got to make a change.
Yeah, I think the little shake of his head there says it all.
Well, two options for Graham Souness. He's got Mark Walters, but he's chosen Don Hutchison.
I wonder if that suggests that the decision is slightly negative rather than positive. I would have thought a left-sided player going off, Mark Walters with his skill, ability, dribbling, would be certainly a player to look to open up a defence. Don Hutchison, on the other hand, it may be that Graham is happy with what he's got and will settle for that.
The way Liverpool have defended this season, he can't be banking on that. Hutchison, of course, is capable of scoring and played at Wimbledon, I believe, as a striker and impressed the manager. Rush, of course, was absent then. Oh, and this by Nicol. Rush. Hutchison combining with Barnes for Rush. Beautiful play from Liverpool, but not the reward at the end of it.
Well, I've laid money on Ian Rush just nicking this over David Seaman as he came out here. Good movement all round. Hutchison's involved, but look, there's that run again from Rush. In behind Adams, and just never thought, go on, he'll stick this one away. But he misses it with more than Ian Rush usually does. Good first touch. Tries to just slide it past, but is well wide with it.
Barnes has a zip about Liverpool now. But Parla asserting himself. Nicol. Behind Rush, Paul Barnes thought that was coming onto his left foot. It would have done, but Winterburn was alert to the considerable danger.
I think if he'd known that Nigel Winterburn was so close to him, he certainly would have attacked the ball a lot earlier, John Barnes.
Campbell. Arsenal stung to some retaliation here, having nearly lost the first goal of the game, trying to score it. Merson. Well, we always remember the ones that he hits that go in. And there are a few that are less spectacular.
Well, if you're going to score spectacular goals, Mark, you have to be prepared to miss spectacularly as well. But he said he's not going to left foot, but a moment ago he bent in a wonderful little cross, you know, that really stretched Steve Nicol.
Nicol. Winterburn showing a bit of it to McManaman, but having the will to recover as Barnes did for Liverpool. He can turn. Rush trying to make the run once more, and confusion between Seaman and Linnigan, and it's a Liverpool corner.
Yeah, David Seaman won't be happy. I think he was in control of the situation. Again, watch the run. It's the Rush run across defenders. You can see the goalkeeper's got it covered, but Andy Linnigan's taking no chances.
Well, we've heard one or two public criticisms of Liverpool by Graham Souness. What he said privately at half-time has certainly galvanised his team. They've got to watch their defending again as the game opens out. It'll give Arsenal a bit more room in which to show off their paces.
I think that's what the game needs to do. It needs to stretch a little bit, Martin. With Arsenal pushing up and Liverpool pushing up to a certain extent the first half, the game was played in a tight little area. Already early on in the second half, there's far more space between back fours and therefore players with ability have been able to get on the ball and do something with it.
Carter. It's a clever change of direction. Came off the head of Stewart. Barnes. Delightfully done with McManaman. McManaman against Adams, but not past him. It was a rousing tackle for the Arsenal fans by the captain.
Did a lot with his body, Steve McManaman, but did very little with the ball.
Campbell. Carter's come to the left. And loses Mark Wright. And that hit Jones. Could have gone inside the near post. Luck was with Liverpool then.
Well, I said in the first half that Jimmy Carter, when he got the ball, looked sprightly and bright. And certainly he's got on it 2 or 3 times already early in the second half. And he's managed to cause confusion in the Liverpool defence.
Arsenal looking now to turn what has been a tight game their way from the corner. And put out for another corner by Wright.
Mark Wright's not really picking anyone up, Martin. What he's trying to do is take the responsibility about the middle of the goal to make that area his own and attack any ball that goes in there.
Oh, James is in trouble. Smith hits over the bar. It was a launching leap by Linegan that gave the goalkeeper his lack of comfort here.
But you can see the confusion it does cause with all the big bodies in there. Smith's a bit unlucky. It takes an awful bounce for him.
It's still 0-0. But more suggestion already in the second half than perhaps in the first that it might not stay at 0-0.
Got a higher tempo to the game. That's the noticeable thing first of all for me. The pace is up certainly since the first half, when I think Liverpool were probably happy to keep it at 0 now, but perhaps they believe that they can go on and win the game, and perhaps that's what Graham Souness is telling these players at half-time.
Winterberg. Oh, Smith getting away here and getting the ball too, but in the end falling between 2 stools, neither controlling it or hitting it goalwards.
Well,
very difficult.
His run's excellent and he pulls behind Steve Nicol and he just can't control it. It is a difficult one, whether to hit it first time, whether to put your foot in it. You see, he just looks up, and that little look there to the goalkeeper might have just broken his concentration.
Barnes. McManaman's gone towards the near post. Rush trying to come from the deeper position. But given the number of talented attackers we've got in this game, well, let's pay tribute to the defenders who did their jobs in the first half. Certainly defenders who are being criticised, particularly those of Liverpool. Adams has had a good season, of course, his international recall. But not too many of them on target. That's a factor so far. It's one of the better kicks from David James. Well met by Barnes for Rush. Goes round Seaman, but out of room. And the most direct of attacks from Liverpool ends unhappily.
Well, Andy Linegan gets out of jail, doesn't deal with it. Again, it's very uncharacteristic of Ian Rush. Normally in that situation, he's made his mind up. He's just going to slot this wide. But that's not like the Ian Rush of old, that control. That's a glorious chance he's had there.
The second of the second half. Smith. Campbell hits it quickly, and it took a touch on the way.
Well, already this 11 minutes has been better than the whole of the first half for incident and drama already. Smith just gets the nick. Campbell's on it in an instant, and that's an important touch from Mark Wright.
Smith going in with a header. Masson! Oh! Well, James got in the way of it, and it was a genuine stop. He anticipated which way Merson might hit it, if he hit it well, which he certainly did.
Well, he's gambled here, David James, and he's deserved his luck. Merson, left foot, not his strong, he swings at it. Goalkeeper gambles, and that, you're right, is a genuine, very, very good save.
Barnes. Now Carter. Papala picked out by Dixon. Papala goes for goal, getting caught up in the mood of the second half, which is much more optimistic from both teams. And the goalkeeper's starting to have to earn their money.
Well, that's what Ray Parlour's all about, isn't it? Making those driving runs from that central midfield area. And certainly Paul Stewart in particular has got to be careful and got to keep his eye on him.
Redknapp. McManaman. All anxiety when the ball is at McManaman's feet for Rush again. He's got the better of Seaman this time. Down he goes. Andy Linnigan. Penalty for Liverpool.
Well, the one thing you can say about Ian Rush is he doesn't get disappointed if he misses a chance. He keeps putting himself in there. We've talked about his running behind defenders. He gets a little break there. Andy Linnigan's right hand goes round his waist slightly. Not so sure how much contact was there. The referee had a good view. His decision, a penalty.
John Barnes for Liverpool. This for the lead. They have it. Graham Souness wants to get a message on straight away, but Barnes, who made his debut in the last time that Liverpool won at Highbury back in 1987, scores again from the spot here at a crucial stage.
Well, you couldn't have saved that if you'd put three goalkeepers in there, Martin. That, the perfect penalty almost.
But Arsenal will look back at the way the penalty was conceded. And I wonder whether David Seaman will be protesting afterwards that he had the ball. And the referee said no, Rush felt no, because he went in and he was entitled to go in for it. That was the key moment, really. Linnigan was trying to repair the situation after that.
I think the key part of it for me anyway, Mark, was the ball didn't leave the ground. I think had David Seaman lifted it off the ground at any time and then the challenge gone in, then a free kick would probably been given. We can have another look at the penalty incident. See if this clears it any. Again, you see, ball's gone, the goalkeeper's on his way out. Contact's made there. Don't think there's too much wrong. There's the right arm. Goes round Ian Rush. There's the referee's position. He's got a great view of it. I don't think Arsenal can have any complaints on any count.
Barnes, who's got the job back, of course, of taking penalties. Mike Marsh was a capable stand-in when Barnes was just feeling his way back into the team, and of course when he was out of the side. But it takes a player of strong nerve and sure-footedness, because given Liverpool's season so far, that was vital that he scored. You can't begin to think what it would have done to the morale had he missed. The morale's been good here. And Liverpool more than playing an even part in a splendid start to the second half, a complete contrast to the majority of the first, which was tight and cautious. And Rush, having wasted two good opportunities, kept on running and was the player brought down for the penalty.
It's an example to all young strikers though, Martin, that you should never get disappointed if you miss a few important chances. Ian Rush there, the perfect example. He kept putting himself in the firing line to miss the chances, and eventually it went his way.
Liverpool with just the one away win this season. That was in London, of course, against Queen's Park Rangers. And without a win at Arsenal since August 1987. They're one up now, but here's Campbell. And has he given another one? He has, Mark Wright.
Well, we had a very good view of this, Martin. I didn't see an awful lot of contact there. There's a little nudge with the elbow there. But the referee, again, full credit, had a great view of it. Just watch this, there is contact. There's the arm goes out. The referee's judged that illegal, and an opportunity for Arsenal.
The penalty entrusted to the man in form, Paul Merson. And James has saved it. And Mark Wright is first to say thank you very much indeed.
Oh, that's a brilliant save. Absolutely brilliant.
A corner. Linnigan. A tale of two penalties so far in the second half. David James, his first game at Highbury, and what a game it's turning out to be. Carter.
Well, we can take a breather now, Mark. That's all been happening, but look at this. He gambles, and he has to stretch all of his 6-foot-plus frame. He goes slightly early, but goalkeepers have to. It's well struck by Merson, but it's at the height that goalkeepers enjoy. Super stop.
He's got a terrific reach, a goalkeeper in whom Graham Souness has pinned a lot of faith. Always wanted him, the Liverpool manager will tell you. It took a while to get the signing through. But twice now, Paul Merson, the penalty will be remembered for longer, but the save perhaps is even better, the one from closer range prior to that. And Merson lashed out with his left foot. And Liverpool still lead. Adam's header goes straight to the one player probably that Arsenal didn't want to present possession to, Barnes.
I'll tell you what, David James has saved his players from getting a right rollicking off their manager as well, Martin. Having worked very hard in the first half to keep them in the game and then come out with this positive attitude, take the lead, and 4 minutes later concede a penalty. I'll tell you what, Graham Souness would have been furious.
Rush claims for handball. The referee letting the game go on. Mark Wright misjudging the header. Of course, David James had nothing to endure from fans behind the goal to try and put him off. But that takes nothing away from the athleticism of the stop.
I wonder how that unnatural backdrop does look when you've got faced with taking a penalty.
Hutchison. Barnes holding wide on the right, even further wide than McManaman. Still Barnes. Oh, the flag is up. As McManaman followed in.
But I left him 1-for-1 in Nigel Winterburn for a long time, and that's all the encouragement that somebody like John Barnes needs to come in on that left foot.
We talked about the happy times that Barnes has had at Highbury, not all with Liverpool. A couple of good wins I remember in his Watford days here. Redknapp. missed a few matches with injury, although he has missed his opportunities. He's looked very sharp to get there. And look at Barnes here, really expressing himself. And giving Andy Linnigan another moment of heartache. In the end, Barnes just over-elaborated a bit too much. Otherwise, we could have had a glorious goal. We could have had penalty number 3 in the match. Nicol with a clearance. Dixon. Here's Carter. For Smith. Decided to turn. The other option was to set up Parlour on the edge of the area. And Liverpool feeling the pressure at the moment. McManaman just hacking it away.
But that skill from John Barnes, that's the skill of the match for me. The way he just drags it there. Look at the way he embarrasses a defender of the quality of Tony Adams. And I thought here he was just going to do the same. But just overcooks it a little bit.
And that angle proved quite conclusively that there was no infringement. It was just a case of Barnes pushing it too far at the end of that sparkling run. Stewart. Parlour. Nicol ducked and let it run harmlessly behind. Well, Liverpool teams of the past would have been adept at killing the game off in this situation, but I think killing the game off is an expression is going to become rather archaic, because the change in the back pass law makes it harder and harder for teams to take the pace out of the game as they could in the past, using the goalkeeper, working the ball along the back line. And this game not over by any means. Paul Merson, I'm sure, trying to rid his mind of the misery of the penalty miss, or should we say the splendour of the save. Barnes came off the toe, but there was enough contact to get the ball out of the penalty area and out of play.
But that's what they've got to do in that situation when they're playing the ball in Arsenal. They've got to defend the second ball.
Smith, Winterburn, all hands to the pump for Arsenal. Smith again trying to impart the spin and swerve it.
Just gets caught under his feet a little bit there, Alan Smith. Couldn't quite dig it out. Nice little run from Winterburn. You see, it's stuck under his feet there a little bit and really can't get the power to trouble David James.
Well, we like to give you the facts of the match. What would fascinate me is the comparison between the two halves in all the vital areas. Barnes.
I think the biggest difference is attitude, isn't it? Of anything. You can have all these good players there, and suddenly if their attitude is a more positive one, then suddenly the game becomes totally different.
Yes, the action stemming from the attitude. Not too many offsides to litter up the proceedings, which still have 20 minutes to run. Fans watching will remember the leads that have been lost before this season. Arsenal threatening the present one through Carter, a former Liverpool player. He gets his cross in. Merson again, and it's a corner.
Great tackle from Steve McManaman, that was. Merson's eyes must have opened wide again, but just watch the way McManaman doesn't give this up. He'll come into the picture any second, and that's a crucial interception.
On your toes, Robbie! Hey, Jamie! On your fucking toes! Away!
Adams trying to flick it on. Linnigan! It's not really running Arsenal's way. They've got another corner.
But that's what I mean about defending the second ball. They're going to have to accept that they'll lose a few flicks, but they've got to be tighter. on the second ball.
Oh, that nearly went in direct from Merson, from the corner. Merson again, and not quite the control on his left foot. And it flew towards David James, who was sure in his handling. It's the corner that provided the greater talking point.
He just managed to get a block on it, the big man, didn't he, in goals. And he is playing well, Martin, but he's riding his luck as well, and goalkeepers need that.
Stewart. Barnes. Going to be trying to fit in and show what he's made of and assert himself with a shout on the far side so that the play could be switched. Carter. Hutchison playing at left back at the moment after Bjornaby had gone on. Well, the crowd taking to Jimmy Carter in this game. Dixon. For Carter. Arsenal trying to draw Liverpool out. They're not really obliging. They're defending the edge of the area. Dixon really saying, well, you play in a pass to cause us embarrassment, and if you give it away, we'll break like this. With Redknapp. Rush to the right, McManaman to the left. Here's Rush. Still Rush, it's really opened up. Oh, no luck for him again, the post, McManaman, oh dear.
Well, it's not Rush's day, because for me there he did everything absolutely right. He's shown a cool head here. Could easily have been drawn into a shot, but drags it inside, sizes up the situation, side foots it, he thinks that's in, hits the post, and really Steve McManaman from there makes a real hash of the rebound.
Well, I wonder what the consequences will be of the narrowness of that miss. A second goal, which would have made Liverpool more secure. Not just on the score sheet, but in their minds as well. Think back to the match at Manchester United when they played so well and were 2 up. And they were caught in a 2-2 draw the day Ian Rush broke the goal-scoring record for Liverpool.
Liverpool have toyed with the formation slightly, Martin. What Paul Stewart doing, and he's doing a great job for them at it, is when they're under a little bit of pressure, he's dropping back and he's getting himself into any gaps that are along the back four and just saying, standing in there and saying, well, I'll just block off, and they're tucking Don Hutchison in slightly. They're playing like a kind of V formation with Hutchison and Redknapp, and then Paul Stewart just behind them and just in front of the 2 centre-backs. And he's doing an excellent job in there for them at the moment.
Campbell's header. And it was Jones covering, and it's a corner.
It looked like he's complaining his shirt was tugged at there. You see a little bit possibly, but good covering again though from Rob Jones.
Another corner from Carter. Another leap from Linnigan. Dixon. Carter again. Linnigan's come out of the penalty area to help get the attack going again. Dixon. Redknapp not letting him see the penalty area. But the long throw still has to be dealt with for Liverpool.
Well, you don't often see that in Liverpool. They've got every single player within 20 yards of the goal.
Rush.
That's great play from Ian Rush, you know. If you're defenders in the back four, particularly Liverpool, when he's worked hard to get that ball and earned himself the free kick, and it just gives his back four now a chance to catch their breath and reorganise and settle down.
Andy Linnigan in the wars. Smattering of blood around the left eyebrow there. Well, George Graham still has one possible alteration to make. Neil Heaney has only made one brief appearance for the senior side. Arsenal have a team to get together for Wednesday night for the trip to Elland Road, and the difficulties looming for the manager, but what a cup tie it should be. You can see it live on Sky Sports. And on Sunday, it's Tottenham against Southampton, when we're on the air at 11:30 for a 1 o'clock kickoff. So some stoppage time to add on to the 13 minutes to go. And the majority of the crowd of 27,500 hoping that Arsenal can extricate themselves here from a difficult position. They had the greatest chance of all, of course, to equalise with a penalty of their own. 4 minutes after John Barnes had scored from the spot for Liverpool. David James with a gigantic save from a gigantic goalkeeper. Merson. Looking for Smith. Will it drop Arsenal's way? Björneby, just in case it might have been a corner. It is a throw to Arsenal. And these closing minutes are going to pass very slowly from the Liverpool point of view. Unless, of course, they can score again.
Well, that's what they say, Mark. The best way to protect a 1-0 lead is to make it 2.
Hutchison. Parler picked him off. Winterburn. The crowd not helping Arsenal either at the moment, when the players need some support. Or a note of complaint from them. Barnes. McManaman peeling away from Rush, who uses Björneby. He's got a fine strike in his left foot. As he gets more and more attuned to the pattern of things at Anfield, we might see him from free kicks as well, as though, of course, he's got Barnes to contend with, but as a prize weapon, he's certainly there. Campbell, who's forced the Arsenal penalty. Oh, James has kicked it straight to Merson and got away with it.
Well, this is always worth a try, I think, when you've got the power in your shot. Certainly when goalkeepers might be looking for a cross here and might be edging towards the far post. It's worth having a little pot occasionally.
Barnes. Redknapp. Now Stewart. Good work by Liverpool. It ends with the ball out of play, but there was a time in the game where Arsenal are champing at the bit to try and drive on and find an equaliser from somewhere.
A straight pass from John Barnes. Something new this second half. He really has had a good second half, John Barnes. His touch has been lovely on the ball.
It was Rush racing back again. He put so much into it that he just for a second showed a bit of fatigue as Rob Jones rolled it back to where Rush might have run through the middle. Right. Here's Merson, found by Parler. Winterburn charging up on the inside, and again some capable defending from that deep midfield role from Paul Stewart. Oh, McManaman almost playing Barnes in. Stewart there again. Harler stopping it, reaching Barnes the second time. And again it's Stewart.
He's just getting himself in that little area, isn't he? That little hole. Any danger, he's just trying to get himself in there. Doing an excellent job at it. But that's what Liverpool of old would be good at. What we're seeing the last couple of minutes when they've got the ball. Keeping it. Passing the ball around. Keeping the ball away from Arsenal.
Hutchison with the wind taken out of his sails. Paul Stewart called it a dream move when he had the chance to go to Liverpool from Tottenham, to go back north where his family were based. It hasn't turned out to be a dream time, but he's certainly playing an effective part in what would be a splendid result for Liverpool. They're 8 minutes plus stoppage time away from it. The John Barnes penalty and the David James penalty save from Paul Merson, the key factors in an invigorating second half after a pretty stale first 45 minutes. And George Graham is going to take off one substitute, David O'Leary, who's been on since early in the game in midfield for David Hillier. And on comes Neil Heaney, the England under-21 forward, who operates basically in wide positions, can do the job either side. Barnes, Rush reacting quickly again, and Linegan couldn't quite cope with it. McManaman. Here's Hutchison. Out of harm's way by Nicol. The second half has shown much more of Liverpool as a team with flair, but they've been consistent right from the first whistle in the resolution of their play. Can they sustain it to the last whistle? Smith.
Well, they're going to be asked some questions, aren't they, in the last, what we've got, 7 minutes to go. You certainly can see Arsenal beginning to knock a few balls in there and really testing the heart of the Liverpool defence.
Winterburn. And Redknapp stuck with him. Mark Walters, who is stripped and now putting the top back on. Walters, incidentally, is Liverpool's leading scorer in Premier League games only, with 6. Rush didn't get there the first time, but was able to go on and now give Arsenal something of a problem, but not a major one. Smith. And Heaney got there before Wright. Mark Wright claimed that he wasn't as late as the referee thought he was, but I don't think that substantiates that view.
Don't think he's got much of a case, has he?
In from Merson. Smith. Who had the final touch there? Oh, the referee's given a corner. The linesman, I don't think, was quite so sure.
I think the ref's right. I thought John Barnes got the last touch on it.
We've talked about Arsenal's height advantage. Can they show it? Oh, they're helped when the goalkeeper does fumble. And James looks at the referee to say he was fouled then. Would have just soothed the nerves a little bit for Liverpool if James could have come and taken that cleanly. Here's Campbell. It's too long. Well, Heaney kept it in, but gave it straight to Jones. And that will take up a bit more time. And Winterburn, who has been booked, being told to calm it down.
Yeah, and I think the referee quickly reassuring Nigel Winterburn that calming it down was all he was going to say to him.
Winterburn here. Now, Nigel Winterburn looks as though he's going to be sent off here. It was another rash challenge, booked in the first half for a bad tackle, and he's off. And only a minute or so earlier, he'd gone in for a tackle which might have produced a yellow card had he not been booked earlier in the game, and this one I think gave the referee little option.
I think you're right, Martin. I mean, especially 30 seconds after he'd been warned, and you're right, 30 seconds ago, that tackle against Rob Jones, had he not already been booked, it most probably would have earned him a booking. And I think the referee was trying to be kind to him and not send him off. But 30 seconds later to have to deal with another very rash tackle, I don't think the referee had any option there.
So Liverpool with a goal advantage, a man advantage, and Arsenal, who pride themselves on their resolution, really being called into question now to try and get an equaliser with 10 men. With a couple of minutes to go, and McManaman quite legitimately with the ball at his feet, doing a bit of teasing and taunting, and using up a bit of time. Well, a year ago, Arsenal drew with Manchester United, and that was the start of a 17-match unbeaten finish to their league season. They had too much ground to make up, and Leeds and Manchester United got away too far. But there were hopes, though be it ambitious ones maybe, that this would be a fixture here, a high-profile one again, to set Arsenal on their way up the Premier League table. But it's gone wrong for them. Masson! Oh! While he's still out there, there's always a hope of a recovery.
What a very good strike. I mean, he keeps telling us, Paul Merson, that he hasn't got a left foot. But I'll tell you what, there's not an awful lot anyone could have done better than that. Strikes it quite beautifully. Straight down his throat, though. This has been a big day, Martin, for both sides. Arsenal, as you say, would have been looking for 3 points to really say to the rest of the Premier League, we've still got a chance. But for Liverpool, they've shown a lot of good qualities here. The players have worked very, very hard for each other. There's certainly been a good spirit out there amongst them from what I've seen. And they've laced that with some quality at times as well.
Linesman, after the ball had gone, flagging to give Arsenal a free kick, one assumes.
Well, every set piece will bring fear to Liverpool, that's for sure, because they haven't dealt convincingly with them all day. Scrambled away more than anything.
Carter. And Dixon, arm raised in hope rather than expectation. It's a goal kick.
It was a poor free kick from Lee Dixon. He'll be first to admit that. When you put four big six-footers in there, you really want the ball in the middle there. And he actually drove it round to the edge of the box to Jimmy Carter.
These two great clubs have one thing in common. When the results go badly, the critics seem to sharpen their pencils that much more quickly. And Liverpool have felt the vitriol. And it may be Arsenal's turn now. But here's Campbell for Carter. Liverpool aren't making off with 3 points yet.
Well, it looks like the big man might be getting what he's wanted since he arrived at Anfield, his first clean sheet. And just what that'll do for a goalkeeper's confidence.
Well, there have been plenty of shots. The one goal from a successful penalty, and the most memorable save, as far as the headline writers are concerned, from an unsuccessful penalty. That will mean so much to Graham Souness and his management team. 2 minutes of stoppage time, but it has turned out to be a special Sunday for Liverpool. David James preserving the lead with a wonderful penalty stop from Paul Merson, after John Barnes had been unerring in his aim from 12 yards after Andy Linnigan had brought down Ian Rush. Well, a return to winning ways for Liverpool in what is always a high-profile fixture. A month which has shown several signs that Arsenal could still fulfil their considerable potential, ends in disappointment for George Graham and his team. Not the ideal showing before their FA Cup trip to Leeds on Wednesday, and the scar of Nigel Winterburn being sent off as well. Liverpool have had time to reflect on their shortcomings. That 15-day break may be a chance for the dressing room to get back together again. Some harsh facts faced up to perhaps as well. And the outcome from this match, much more optimistic. Graham Souness has needed all the breadth of his shoulders, but the weight he carries doesn't seem quite so heavy this evening. The Liverpool travelling fans celebrate. Arsenal 0, Liverpool 1. Here's Nick Collins.
Well, with me, David James and John Barnes. First of all, John, if I can start with you. Terrific second-half performance from Liverpool. Did you talk about stepping up the work rate at half-time?
Not really. I think that we just talked in terms of just keeping it tight at the back and not giving anything away. We knew there was only going to be maybe one goal in it, and fortunately it went in for us.
You've had a break for a couple of weeks. Was that a help?
Not really, because we've been playing in the fourth round of the Cup. But in terms of getting a bit of team spirit and getting the lads together, we went away to Ireland. We had a few meetings. In terms of that, it was very, profitable.
How important a win is this for you? A good springboard now?
Well, we'd like to think so, but we've gone in the past winning matches and then we've lost a few. So this really should be a springboard, but all we can do is keep our fingers crossed and hope that we battle and perform as we did today in the second half.
Well, let's bring David James in as well. David, congratulations on the penalty save. Your first clean sheet in the Premier League, I believe, as well.
Yeah, true.
Tell me, when the penalty was taken, had you made your mind up very quickly?
Well,
here we go. I mean, that's a terrific save.
I see the goal he had on against Chelsea, and I knew he was going to put it that way. So I thought he was going to put it that way, so I went that way,
You actually denied Paul Merson more than once, though, didn't you? There were a couple of very good saves that you made from him.
Did I?
Do you not remember?
Nah, sorry.
It's part of your job.
In the first half, I've lost my memory,
Part of your job, obviously, to make saves like that. But we asked John this question. I'll ask you it. How important a win do you think that has been for you?
Well, we've been away to Ireland last weekend, and to be honest with you, that was a team boosting trip, morale boosting, and I thought afterwards that there was a different atmosphere at the club, and I knew if we came here and win, that'd be, it'd be a different story for the season. So we done what I expected, and it's just the start of our comeback, if you want to call it that.
Well, let's just have one last word with John. Our commentator Martin Tyler described the match as a match of two penalties. Now, Paul Merson's penalty was saved, yours wasn't. I mean, that was another very good penalty for you, and at an important time.
Well, I've taken a few against David Seaman, and I always put it in that corner, and he knows I always put it there. So I was a bit surprised he went the other way. I suppose he's thinking he knows that I put it there, so maybe he's going to change his mind. But fortunately, he went the wrong way and it just went in.
That's terrific. John Barnes, thank you very much indeed.
Well done, Nick. Thank you. Next on Sky Sports, Wednesday night, Leeds United against Arsenal. That FA Cup fourth round replay to a finish at Elland Road. And a week today from the FA Premier League, Spurs against Southampton. 11:30 our programme starts for a 1 o'clock kickoff at White Hart Lane. Phil Thompson and Frank McClintock. Frank, a little disappointed, aren't you?
Yes, I'm disappointed. I think when you play football over the years, you always have a bad game now and again, maybe quite a few in a season. And I think this was one of those situations for Arsenal today. It was extremely disappointing. They lacked variety in their play. They lacked a little bit of imagination. And when Liverpool went one up, you were wondering who was going to score the goal that was necessary to bring them back into the game. And Ian Wright, as I said before the programme, Ian Wright's been scoring goals regularly, but not many other Arsenal players have been chipping in with their few as well. And I think that highlighted it today again.
Conversely, Phil Thompson's smiling. You happy enough, Phil?
Yeah, I think the lads... I think you got to look at the senior pros there, Ian Rush and John Barnes. That's where it all started from for us today. They were working themselves to death up there. And Andy Linnigan, that should know, you don't take chances with Ian Rush. Ian Rush gave him a hell of a time there today. And it was great for the other lads, because they'd probably say, well, taking the cue off them two, let's all work hard and pull for one another. Probably more than anything, winning the game, it was keeping the clean sheets, which probably have made them very, very happy. Steve Nicol, calming influence to the rest of the team, and yeah, they've got to be delighted. First off, it's very, very poor, but I'm sure at half-time you're happy that it's 0-0. And there's always a chance, as the QPR game, when like took a bit of a drubbing, sit back, we're happy, it's 0-0. Let's go out and try and sort of turn it on now.
1-0, Liverpool have won it. You can hear what their supporters think about it outside. Big game for them today, as it was for the Gunners. But Liverpool have won it by 1-0. Plenty to come on Super Sunday yet. More from Frank and Phil in a moment or so. And also your views. Stay with us. Sunday. Now, let's have a look at these match facts. 1-0 to Liverpool. Good deal more shots in the second half, wasn't there? 17 from Arsenal. 11 from Liverpool in total. 5 of Arsenal's on target, 3 of Liverpool's. 12 corners for Arsenal, 4 for Liverpool. Free kicks conceded, well, too many some might say, by both sides. 8 offside decisions in total, 3 bookings, and the one sending off, of course, Nigel Winterburn. We'll have a look at that in a moment. Our guests, Frank McClintock and Phil Thompson, 2 of the best defenders I think we've ever seen in the game. Let's have a potter, gentlemen, through some of the best incidents. Most of it from the second half. It really came to light in that second half, didn't it? Ian Rush, first of all, Phil, who was sniffing for an early opportunity, nearly got it here, didn't he?
Yeah, well, I was talking to Frank at half-time. I was saying what we've lacked is a little bit of movement, sort of, in that final third. Nobody, Rushy did it to a T there and should have scored. And even this one, that's typical Rushy, closing down the defender. Bad touch there. Bad touch, won't be happy with that at all.
But his head didn't go down, did it? He kept looking for opportunities after that.
The way he played this afternoon, he deserved a goal, did Rushy. He kept on going, as I say, he'd done the things there. Little movements off the ball, little ball through, which Kenny Dalglish used to feed him with. And even that last one, closing on a defender. Defender thinks he's okay, he's 5 yards away, and just getting that little toe in.
Paul
and
Merson,
he deserved a goal.
Paul Merson, Frank, your sense was Arsenal's best opportunity of a breakthrough. He kept plugging away too, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. He's probably a little bit in form more than any other Arsenal forward at the moment, and he's always liable to score a goal. He had a good shot with his left foot, and Andy was mentioning that. His right's his favourite, really. But he had a fair game. He really thundered this one. This was his left as well. That was a marvellous save there by James. But somehow the referee gave something for that. I don't quite know what the decision was.
I think it was further out. I think that may have stood. I think as the ball came out, Frankie.
Yeah, because there was nothing wrong with that.
There was a Sean Stewart on the corner.
Right.
Now let's have a look at these 2 penalty incidents. First of all, Linnigan on Ian Rush here. What do we make of this, Phil?
Well, I thought it was a penalty.
I thought you would.
Again, there's the movements. Rushy's going early. Seaman wants shooting.
Seaman does?
Yeah. Well, he's let that go through his legs there, not that one.
The one that he came to collect initially.
He's away, Rushy. There you go. He grabs him. He grabs him there. Doesn't look so just there, but he's got hold of him. That's a penalty.
Frank? From here, actually, from up here, it looked a definite penalty. From the cameras there, it didn't look so much of a penalty. It looked as though Ian Rush had pulled himself round, but up here, it almost looked as though Andy Linnigan pulled him round, didn't it?
Was the tug enough to bring about that?
Actually, I was quite certain when I first seen it live that it was a penalty. But looking at this, it doesn't look much of a tug at all, does it?
Rushie's off balance already.
Yeah.
I feel as though he's caught him just around the arm or around this side. As he's turned, it looks as though, well, he's not made contact with him. No. I think the initial damage has been done.
I don't think he needed to touch him anyway. I think he should have just left him alone and maybe squared up and he might have blocked a shot, you know. I think it was a...
Well, Rushie's still trying to dig the ball out. He should have just got goal side.
Yeah.
And let Rushie try to make his mind up.
That's right.
Good penalty there, wasn't it? We all knew which side it was going, but unstoppable when it was launched. Phil?
Yeah, it's a great penalty. I know you can say, well, it's gone in. Any penalty that goes in is a good one. But John, and don't forget, there's probably a lot of pressure on him there. But
I think there is, isn't there?
He was very calm about it. He's saying, like before, like Seaman knows where he puts it and everything, but he doesn't know that he knows that. Yeah, he knows where he's going to put it.
The wind's coming.
The main thing was it ended up in the back of the net.
Now, was this a penalty, the one that Arsenal managed to dig out for themselves, what, just 4 minutes later? Frank, you take this one.
Yeah, I thought it was Campbell's burn into the box here. I thought Mark Wright makes not another silly tackle, but I think this also was a silly tackle. First of all, he tackles with his left foot. He's basically right-footed. He can stand up here. Campbell's going towards the byline. He doesn't need to make an attempt there. It wasn't a big suggestion of a bad foul or anything. It was just his left leg was stuck out. Campbell went over it, and it was a penalty.
Any complaints, Phil?
No, I think it's fair. The only thing maybe in Mark's defence is that he may have knocked it too far, which he wouldn't have got the ball before it got the byline.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
Again, I think he was a little bit too close to Rob when he was given that little bit of support. The one ball's beat the both of them.
And Paul Merson's penalty was saved by David James. Frank?
Yeah, well, there's a little bit of a good height for a goalkeeper here. They always say either put it right high in the corner or down in the deck, and that was just a nice height. But nevertheless, it was a terrific save by the goalkeeper, so you've got to say well done to him. But
he did go early, didn't he?
For Arsenal. Yeah, he just moved his feet early. He didn't move sideways too much, but he just said, I think he tried to put Merson off.
Andy Gray, who sneaked in at the far end there, said goalkeepers have to these days, Andy.
I think so. Yeah, I mean, I'd just like to see, I thought at first when I saw the penalty, the Arsenal one, it might have been a bit harsh, but I think having seen it again, I think I agree with the lads. It was a definite penalty against Mark Wright. But what a super save.
Oh, he's moved a little bit early, but having said that, Paul Merson, he seems to line up as though, yeah, I'm going to put in that one. If he's done maybe a little bit of an Aldo shuffle, like put
so
it
did Barnsley though, but he stuck his right in the corner, didn't he?
Yes, that's right. Yeah. Ian Rush hit the post when Arsenal were chasing it and very nearly gave away a second. Phil, you thought this was in, didn't you?
Yeah. It was great again, Rushy here. Now, Andy Linegan should be taking him down the outside on his right foot and out of the angle. He lets him come inside. Rushy did marvellous there. Mackie should have made a better effort at that. It was a great piece of skill by Rushy. So if he's watching the ball, Linegan, he should be taking him down this way, down to the outside. It opens up all the angles for Rushy there.
It really was a day when Liverpool's senior pros rose to the occasion with David James, wasn't it? Well, as you said, Ian Rush and John Barnes, Steve Nicol.
Yeah, the first half, it was very much sort of even, Stephen. There was nothing in the game at all. Liverpool would be happy with that. But they come out the second half, and the lads up front, and as I say again, Stevie Nicol probably said to themselves, got to work hard, they've got to close them down and make things happen. And I think they knew Linegan was on a little bit of a dodgy time, and they got after them at the back. And I think that paid dividends. The lads at the back, a little bit taken off them, and everybody's happy. You defend from the front.
Let's have a look at the incident that led to the sending off again. This one of a number from Nigel Winterburn, really, Frank, wasn't it? The referee with any
No, I think the referee was right there. Nigel's a very good fullback, but he is a little bit rash at times. And when his head goes, he tends to dive in. And as Andy had said in the commentary, he'd been a foul just about 30 seconds earlier. The referee was very lenient with him. Now, when that happens, you've got to be very careful with your next tackle. I mean, this is quite late and quite high, and I think McManaman did well to ride that.
No complaints, man?
No, not really. I said the worst thing for Winterburn was he did it just before, and then he got a telling off. It was late and everything, and I thought, well, he's done well to let him away with it, the referee. There you go. And a couple of minutes later, he's still fresh in his mind. He had no option. He had no option.
Less than a couple of minutes, wasn't it? It was about 30 seconds or so. Let's have a look at the FA Premier League and how important that result is for Liverpool. They started the day, remember, in the bottom six, having played a couple of games less. Where are they now? Still going. Makes a difference, doesn't it? Still going. Goodness me, 12th with 32 points, just above Everton. The 3 points do make a big difference. Arsenal in 11th place. They could have closed the gap had they won today. So no change in the top 11. That's exactly how it was at the start of the day. I mean, you have to say, Frank, don't you, that Arsenal didn't look title contenders today. What will that do for their confidence, a defeat like that?
Won't do any good at all, really, Richard. I mean, you want to play against Liverpool today. It's on the television. It's a big match for everyone, for both teams. Very big match. And I wouldn't have minded if Arsenal had played really well and Liverpool had actually beaten them, because that can happen. One team's slightly better than you. But Arsenal didn't really look to do the kind of play and open the team up as I was expecting anyway. And I felt as though they were quite ordinary to beat today. They worked very hard, but they didn't have any enterprise, any variety. And they didn't get me off my seat at any time. And I'm disappointed because I feel as though they're in 2 cups. If they'd have won today, it could have given the team confidence to really go for a title challenge. And I honestly think they could still do that. Well, maybe less. I'm less hopeful now, but they could have done it.
Let's talk about the 2 cup matches that are coming up. The League Cup semi-final, of course, but more importantly, that FA Cup 4th round replay at Elland Road.
Yeah.
How does George Graham pick them up for that one?
Well, I think just like Liverpool have been beaten recently, and they showed that they had a lot of mettle today. They tried very hard. It wasn't a scintillating performance by Liverpool. It was a fairly ordinary game between 2 teams, but Liverpool supplied the 2 bits of magic with Barnes and with Ian Rush there that just changed the game a little bit. Arsenal will have to really dig in. They'll have to get the resources back again. They'll have to really go up there all fired up, because that's going to be a tough game up at Elland Road. They won yesterday as well, so their confidence will be a little bit higher. It's going to be a tough game for Arsenal, but their season has been up and down like that. They look as though they're coming back, and just when you think they're getting close, they have a step back again.
What about Liverpool, Phil? 32 points now, just outside the top half. It turns the season round, or is that?
I was explaining before the game that, you know, although they were down, they had games in hand, and 1 or 2 results just take them up the table. Like the form has been indifferent, well, pretty poor actually, but a couple of results. See 3 points for a win there. It's taken them right up. And as I say, this game was important for them today, and it's proved they've come out and have had a right good go at it. As I say, it was a nothing game really. You couldn't, but Liverpool had that little bit more. Arsenal were very, very predictable.
It wasn't a nothing game at all. It was a vital game, both for City.
No, but I mean between 2 teams, two teams who were sort of very, very ordinary, as Frank said. But Liverpool just had that extra couple of players, and that's where I think Arsenal were missing it. They become very predictable. They'd have had maybe Wright, who can do something, Limpar. I think they had a few players short, and that's why they were very, very ordinary, I think. Yeah. That was my own. Maybe they're in need of a couple more players. But,
a bit of guile, perhaps, Frank. It's strange, isn't it? George Graham was that sort of player, but he's missing a George Graham, isn't he, in that side?
Yeah, you're missing George. It's funny that managers sometimes do that. They get their team playing the opposite of how they played themselves, and George was a very skillful player, as we all can remember. And if there's any criticism of Arsenal, I think most people would agree that there is a little bit of lack of variety there. There are players who are decent players in midfield, but they're a little bit alike, and you feel as though if you had something a little bit different, it could maybe just get the jigsaw right.
OK, well, the calls have been pouring in, I'm delighted to say. We'll start taking them next. A lot of discussion, I'm sure, on the idea of kick-ins as opposed to throw-ins. But talk back, your thoughts, views, coming next. Here, big match coming up on Wednesday night. David O'Leary is waiting to talk about it with Nick Collins.
David, I should think it's quite a strange feeling, isn't it, to lose to Liverpool, because in recent years Arsenal have had a very good record against them.
Yeah, we've had some tremendous games, and we've done pretty well. But they've come out today like everybody's expecting. They needed a result, and they got it. Two penalties. You know, they slotted theirs away nicely, and the Liverpool goalkeeper made a great save from Paul Merson.
What's the feeling within the Arsenal camp? A case of the game that got away, or do you feel that...
Well, we enough of the play in the second half. I mean, it's hard to judge on the field, but the game seemed to open up a lot in the second half and seemed to flow, and we had enough corners in the game, but I think we all felt that the second ball, they were always getting onto it and getting it away in the penalty box, where really you've got to be getting onto it a little bit more. But we've got to pick ourselves up now. We've got an important game on Wednesday in the FA Cup against Leeds, and we've got to get on with it.
I was going to say, does that help after you've suffered a home defeat to know that you've got another big game coming up in a few days' time?
No, personally it doesn't. You know, you've got to go home tonight, and you've been beaten in a top game. The icing on the cake really is that, you know, Sky are here and the nation's really watching it. But you've got to roll your sleeves up, get back onto the training ground on Tuesday and prepare for a tough game away at Elland Road.
How do you think the Cup replay will go? You'll have Ian Wright back, of course, for that.
Well, Ian, you know, is a great bonus for anybody. I mean, his goals are absolutely tremendous. But it's a great atmosphere. It's a great place to go, and they're a great cup team. And we've had some great battles over the years. And I just hope we get the edge.
Can I just ask you, can the league title still be won from the position that Arsenal find themselves in now going into February?
I think it's going to be very hard, but I would not rule ourselves out, particularly with the 3-point system and the way if you can string a set of results together, you never know. We haven't put a run together, and hopefully we can soon, but we're leaving it very late.
Final thought on Liverpool. What was your impressions of them today?
Like anything, I think the main thing with Liverpool, they'll go away, is they need a result today. I think they know they can improve a great deal, but the main thing was for them to get something out of this game and build on that. And I'm sure that's what the manager have said in the dressing room, and they'll go home quite happy tonight.
David, thank you for joining us. Good luck next week.
Thank you.
Spoke well, didn't he? Certainly not ruling out Arsenal's title chances this year, but Norwich City are top at the moment. We'll take some calls in a moment or so. First of all, this is what they're saying outside the ground.
I think we're a bit unlucky. The second half started off very well. Unlucky to give away the penalty. Unlucky when Merson didn't score. The heads went down a bit. They're chasing shadows all the time. After that, they never really looked like getting back into the game.
I think we played very well. I think Linnigan had a reasonable game. Unlucky with the penalty. The fans won't like Linnigan, but I think he was unlucky. Liverpool came here, they needed to win. They got the win. I don't think they played that badly, but they weren't that much better than us, really. But who knows, we've got the cups left, let's go for that.
I think we showed today that, you know, as soon as things start going wrong for us, we sort of seem to lack a bit of creativity, and just keep plugging away doing the same things, and teams sort of learn to sort of play against us that way.
What do you think of this? Brilliant. Back again.
They've just got the passing game back again, their confidence is there. All through the side, it's brilliant. Bit of luck, been 3 or 4.
This is back to the old Liverpool, and James is number one. He's number one soon.
Oh, well, they played the better football, yeah, they deserve to win. Arsenal, last couple of games, including the game against Leeds, they've not played too well, and we came here today and did the business. Do you think that's their season, they'll turn in the corner? Oh, well, I don't know. Got to put in a couple of better performances yet before we'll know whether our season's going to be any better or not.
Makes or breaks a weekend, doesn't it, when your team wins or loses? That's what makes it the greatest game in the world. And Sky Sports, of course, the home of the greatest league in the world. Final thoughts on this match. Phil Thompson, vital for Liverpool, and they'll be delighted with the outcome.
Yeah, there's a long drive home, and the lads will be very, very happy. They'll be going up there. It's a long time since they've felt like this. And I think they've got to try and look at it and get on the right road. Fair comments from the lad just there, speaking support, and that's right. Got a lot more to do just yet, but it was an encouraging result today.
And Frank, final thoughts on Arsenal's performance today, well, bearing in mind that there's Wednesday to come, of course?
Yeah, well, obviously a disappointing game, playing at home as well, being such an important game. I felt disappointed. I think the supporters will probably be disappointed as well. There wasn't a great deal between the two sides, actually, I don't think, but there was a wee touch of extra class now and again, especially by Barnes and Rush, and I think that just turned it.
I love it when our guests, ex-pros associated with the clubs, really display emotion, don't you, there, Frank? Absolutely sick today.
Right.
Yeah. Andy, what did you make of it all?
Well, as a neutral line, I quite enjoyed particularly the second half, Richard. I think for Liverpool, I don't think it's about today. I think it's what happens now. I think we've already seen a few false dawns this season from Liverpool where they've had good results and then collapsed again. It's important for Graham Souness and his boys now where they go from here. What will they take? The good things from that game and build on them. If they do that, then the future can certainly be rosy, certainly the rest of the season. Arsenal, I don't think you can have anything better than a big cup tie on the back of a home defeat like they've had. They can forget about today now and concentrate solely on Leeds on Wednesday and know that they have to be at their best if they're going to go through, and that's the best incentive George Graham can have for his players.
So Leeds have been warned. You can see that one live here, of course, on Sky Sports. Before we take some calls, one other result today, important one in Division 1, Newcastle United 1, Derby County 1. They're terrific away from home, Derby, aren't they? 1-1 in the First Division today. Let's take some calls. John Madden, good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon, Richard.
John, what's your point?
I'd just like to ask the panel, and especially Phil Thompson, about all the criticism that Liverpool are getting at the moment, which I think it is very bad news, and especially from Alan Hansen and Gary Lineker. what I'd like to say is to Phil is I hope we're turning the corner now, Phil, because you know, I know we've had bad criticism and the way Graham Souness has been you know, getting talked about and everything, but let's hope that it's all good now that we're going to turn the corner.
Well, that's
what do you think?
Fair point, John. I think if anybody's had a good reason to get stuck into Liverpool, it would be Phil, but you hurt still, don't you, when results go the wrong way?
Yeah, you do. Obviously, we've got to look at it. We've got to sort of try and push on from this results. But, John, I think a lot of it, our problems have been self-inflicted. You having a go at Alan Hansen and Gary Lineker? I think they've been quite mild, really. Yeah. Alan has done very, very well. He's in a difficult position. But I think Alan's always been very constructive with his views. I don't think you could really have a go. I don't think he's really gone over the top in any way. But as I say, a lot of the problems at Liverpool have been self-inflicted. You've got to expect it because we've been at the top for so long. The press have been waiting to jump on it. And I say basically I can't say too much more.
OK, John, just before we lose you, did you not have a second point about the kick-ins?
Yeah, about the kick-ins. I think they're going to be bad for football, really, because if anybody's going to start taking kick-ins from the sideline instead of throw-ins, it's absolutely going to be ferocious.
Well,
I think it's going to be crazy.
It's something that's being discussed right at the top. What do you make of the kick-in idea, Frank?
I think it's a bad idea myself because it's going to lead to more direct football. The ball's going to be launched in from 60 yards out of goal, and therefore the teams that's got all the 6'2" and 3 players will get... We can see players coming 10 foot tall in the next couple of years if it goes like that. No, I think if any rule should be changed, it's the offside rule in this country to stretch teams out, to make it better as a spectacle for everybody. That's the biggest thing that I think is missing in the game.
What sort of change in the offside rule?
I think it's not me, it's come out with it originally. It's been mentioned many times, but a 35-yard line from both bylines. Because I'm fed up seeing the goalkeeper kicking the ball out his box and 2 teams in a space of 20 yards around the halfway line. And if the ball comes down, no one's got any time or space to do anything. And instead of having Giles and Bremner and Alan Hudson's and Alan Balls and all the creative players, they're getting knocked out the game, and the big 6-foot midfield players are there to hook balls on and to head them on.
I can hear what the neutrals are saying. They'll be saying the Gunners are one of the teams that are worst at that.
Well, sometimes Arsenal are a little bit guilty of being too direct myself, and I'd like to see them just varying it a little bit, Richard, to be fair. But I think that's a more important rule than any rule about kick-ins and throw-ins. That would change your game completely for the better.
But the kicking rule is imminent. Could very well be. John, thanks for your call. Dave Saunders, I think that's a subject you want to pick up, isn't it?
That's right, yeah. Good afternoon, Richard.
Good afternoon to you.
My point is obviously concerning the kicking rule. My concern is that really the football regulations are just changing the game for the sake of changing it. Is it going to benefit the game at all?
Well, there are a fair point. I mean, there are a whole number of changes. Andy, at the far end there.
I think it's difficult, Dave. I think what you're saying, you're right. If they're just changing rules for the sake of changing them, I think we're wrong. I think football, for the majority, the rules we've had have stood the test of time for something like 100 years, and we haven't had to tinker with them too much. The kick-in, without knowing everything about it, how they intend to implement it, it's difficult to judge. If quite simply they're saying we're going to abandon throw-ins and we're going to allow everyone to kick the ball in and you can't be offside still from a kick-in as you can't from a throw-in, then I would be immediately anti it. Now, if they're going to modify it by saying, well, you can be offside from a kick-in if it eventually goes to that, then that would change it slightly. And I might be a little bit in favour of it then. I'd like to see it work.
But why not try it, Andy? Why not play around with the rules a little bit?
I think you can play around too much.
Interest, doesn't it?
I don't know. I'm not so bothered about adding interest, Rich. I think we've got an interesting game here anyway, without tinkering too much with it. I think we can overdo things. As I say, there's not an awful lot wrong with this game that good players wouldn't put right, and positive ideas from managers and coaches. And if we can do that, then I think a game would be healthy enough.
Frank?
No, again, I'm harping on about this offside rule, but I can't see it being implemented for this. Only reason is that no other country apart from ours plays with square back fours and pushes up and tries to catch people offside. There might be an occasional Italian team doing it or an occasional Spanish team do it, but generally speaking, they play with sweepers and their game is much more spaced out than us, and it can be much easier to watch, and craft can be shown more regularly than it can in this country.
It can be a lot more boring than ours, Frank, as well.
I'd rather watch ours, I think.
No, I'm not saying that our game's all bad either, Richard. I just think it would be an improvement to our game.
All right, fair comment. OK, we'll take another break. Plenty more calls to come. I suspect we haven't left the kick-in argument alone for the afternoon yet. Keep those calls coming. We'll be back in a moment or so. Stay with us here on Sky Sports.